Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Forest of Memories. I'm Zaruk Windcaller, your guardian, your high remembrancer, and your arbiter. And welcome to a very special occasion where myself and the great Austin McCloud are going to be talking starships and starfighters. Now, Austin is currently getting set up at the moment. That's why it looks like he's sleeping over here. So, in the meantime, I'm just going to let y'all know I expect everyone to be on their best behavior.
Hello my love.
Hi,
Hi
Mina.
everyone, Zaruk Raid Hype Love 1 Saruk George Saruk Hug.
Hi, Mina. I love you. Have I known this, I would have sent you one. It's cool, Hextall. Don't worry. Um. Anyway, yeah, I'm ready to go. We're just waiting on it. Where's the cookie ship? There is no cookie ship. So one thing I probably do need to do is to zoom in a bit on this screen. Let's see, what is the button for that?
A rock.
There we go. That's a bit better. Yeah, that'll work.
This is an order.
Make a cookie ship. I don't have the ability to make ships. I can't do that. I'm not a starship.
Zaruk requires a booster seat when he dines out. The waiters also give him a kids menu.
Okay, first of all, I don't need a booster seat. I can float. Also, kids menus rock because kids menus are cheap. So I fail to see the problem here, you know? We go. Just had to make a move over here a bit. So y'all can see Austin. There we go. Like a ship that was that works making cookies, or a cookie ship. Who knows? Ask Meeps. All right, let's see. So we are just waiting on Austin to give me the green light because I'm deafened. He can't hear me. I can hear him, but he can't hear us. So, oh, there were some in there, Jarrett. Don't worry. I got to look up how to zoom. There's got to be a button for that, right? Does anyone know what the command is, like the hotkeys are for zoom in on a web page? I do not have one of those. Sorry. There's 41 ships on here, though. Trust me, we've got plenty to talk about. Hi, Wolfie. Let's see. Hold the control key and press plus on your keyboard. Okay, hang on. Gotta make sure I use the right one here. Don't really have a plus. Well, only have a plus button, so there we go. That's better. Perfect. Now people will actually be able to see.
Okay, I'm ready to go when you are.
All right. I'm ready.
Yes. Yes, we're ready. What's going on, chatters? Hello, hello. Hello, Austin and friend. I see everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa, VTubers.
Yeah, my name is included, but no, friend. That's, well, yeah, sure. Okay, I'll accept that. That's fine. Yeah. All powerful guardian of the forest of memories demoted to friend. Okay, that's fair. Whatever. That being the case, if you don't mind me literally, no pun intended, taking the helm real quick, would you like to introduce
All right.
yourself to my community?
Yeah, of course. For those that are in Zaruk's community, hello, my name is Austin McCloud. I could call myself a Star Fox VTuber and content creator. I enjoy making Star Fox videos, or really anything about space, because I just love it, and some furry stuff from time to time. I also cosplay and stuff like that. It's awesome doing this collaboration because I was really excited to do this because my inner nerd can be unleashed as we talk about spaceships.
Yeah, I love how what someone in your community said, "Are you watching VTubers in your R wings right now?" Yes.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Do you want to go ahead and return the
Sure.
favor and introduce yourself?
Sure, absolutely. Hello, everyone. I'm Zaruk Windcaller. I'm the guardian of the forest of memories. I'm a variety streamer that plays games with a strong memory connection to me and my community. It is an honor to call Austin one of my friends. I believe, I don't know how, I recall I stumbled upon one of your streams, and at that point I made that was the first stream I went to. And then the second stream, I saw you in the crystal outfit, and I dropped the ever-running joke of, I'm going to get art of that with the music built in. And that's been a running joke ever since. Autism video. I mean, Yes, hello. I am the autism. I am on the spectrum, and
We're literally,
I'm proud to admit it.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I pitched this idea to Austin, like, "Hey, you want to review starships and spaceships and stuff?" And
Like,
he
fuck
said,
yes.
and as soon as he said yes, I was like, "Good, lock the door. He's never leaving." Um,
Exactly.
so, but with that being the case, I'll let you. You're the one who came up with the tier listing, so why don't you explain what how we're rating things before we get
Y-
started?
Yeah, sure. So we came to the conclusion that there was two ways we could go about it. Do we want to rate them based off of how they are actually in universe, or do we want to just do it like if they're on a common playing field, which we kind of came to that conclusion. If I remember, we're going to rate them based off of a common playing field. Is that correct? Like, is that what we're
So
okay?
we're basically going to be the first rating we're kind of giving them is how do they fare in their own universe, and then how do they fare in like in an open setting, basically compared to everything else, basically.
Right, so that we could set the ground rules,
Yes.
and then what we're going to do is if you could see on my screen, you could see on Zaruk's screen, we have several tiers. We have legendary, combat proven, reliable, needs work, and scrapped. Now, give me 1 second. I just have to before you adjust it again. I just have to make
Sure.
sure I have the display so people can see
Yeah.
our beautiful tier list.
Hmm.
So, give me one
Sure.
second. So, as I'm doing this to kind of Jesus Christ. So dear, thank you so much for the
Wow.
tier
Tier
3
three.
subscription.
Nice.
Jesus Christ, that's loud as fuck on my end.
Wait. What is it? Caramel dancing on your end?
Yes.
I could hear. I could kind of hear it.
It's so loud, bro. And I do that on purpose.
Everyone
So,
everyone knows which our wing is Austin's because it blares caramel dancing from time to time with the rainbow
exactly.
lights.
Yeah, it's the Okay, so here's how it works. So starting from the top and going down, legendary is when the ship itself, regardless of what it is, can handle situations and has like any situation has no flaws at all. Like it's basically the perfect or close to perfect starship.
Hmm.
Then you have combat proven, right? Combat proven is it can hold its own in most combat situations, but it has flaws from being like a perfect, like legendary ship, things of that accord. So, like, okay, there's a couple things holding it back. It could do great in these situations, but I don't know about this. So,
Hmm.
that would be combat proven. Reliable is it's solid in most combat situations, but it's not meant for every single one.
Hmm.
And it has flaws that make it stay in this tier, like more so than the combat proven.
Yeah.
Now, needs work is it's not totally useless, but it needs to get back in the lab and get some upgrades or go into the hangar and
Hmm.
get some new parts. And scrapped is literally like unflyable. Like you
Yeah.
cannot fly this thing in any combat
No.
situation or you are going to die.
Yep. So, and we grabbed, so basically, I grabbed a bunch of ships. Austin grabbed a bunch of ships. And what we'll do is like, let me put it this way. If it's got the name under it, that means Austin gave it to me. Now, some of the ships he picked, I also picked. But
Mhm.
we didn't want to overlap them. I've got people saying, should have picked ships from this and this. Well, okay, to be fair, I don't know if you did, in my community, I told y'all we were doing this, and I was like, hey, if you've got ship ideas, toss them my way. So yeah, I don't know if you did that, but I did.
No, I just picked mine straight up. And by the way, Blue Bomber, you are not late. We just are about to get started. So
Mhm.
anyone that's coming in, you didn't miss anything.
Mhm.
So
Okay. So here's what. How about this? Why don't we I'll pick the thing off the list, and then we'll take turns on like leading their point. Like I can start for the first one, and then on the next one, you can start like what you think it would be. So
yeah,
we can go
that's
back.
like in terms of like where it'd be on the tier
Yeah.
list, you're
Yes.
saying?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
And
fine.
thank you for the follow, dear Valentine. Welcome to the Forest of Memories. Please make yourself at home. All right. So with that being the case, how about we? They're probably thinking, oh, he's going to start with a Star Fox shit. Well, too fucking bad. I'm not.
No, we're not starting with
No,
that. That's
we're going to start with the Raven's Claw, which is again, I'm not putting it here. I'm just so y'all can see it. So I'll start. Do you know what the Raven's Claw is?
um I know Ravenclaw from Harry Potter.
Okay. So the Raven, for those who don't know, the Raven's Claw is Kyle Katarn's personal ship from Star Wars. He had an older ship called the Moldy Crow, and it blew up. So he got the Raven's Claw. This is a basically think of it like a spec ops stealth ship. It can
Mhm.
basically do, not only can it fly in atmosphere and in space, it's capable of outrunning like and out just dodging and outrunning a ton of ships in the setting. And it may not be able to carry a lot of stuff, but it's a smuggler
Oh,
ship.
this is the Jedi out sorry to cut you off. This is the Jedi
Correct.
Academy ship. Oh, I was like,
Yes.
the name jogged my memory. I'm like,
Yeah.
I know this name.
Correct. That yes, it's the one you fly in Jedi Academy. Yeah,
Sorry.
That Kyle
Just
takes you
wanted to make
around
sure.
in. Yeah, this is Kyle's ship, second ship. So the Raven's Claw, it is armed. It is a combat capable ship. But the main thing about the Raven's Claw is that, as Kyle himself put it, if you need to get somewhere, get in, get out, and have nobody know you were there, you get the Raven's Claw. So me
Mhm.
personally, um, I personally find it to be so to start off, for what it does in the universe, it is a legendary ship because it is like
Mhm.
Kyle says, it's a stealth ship. It can go anywhere, do whatever it needs to do. It is not built for combat. It is meant to get a Jedi master and his Padawans or other people where they need to go. And we also know that it can fight. Jan Ors, Kyle's partner and later love interest, can take the ship into combat, and she's fought Star Destroyers with it. So it is capable of doing that. But for what it does, and just because, and also I'm totally not biased because Kyle Katarn is my favorite Jedi in Star Wars, um, I want to give it a legendary rating.
Okay. I guess for me, like, are you talking about, like, in universe, or are you
Yeah,
talking
with
about
starting with in universe. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, without a doubt, I think it definitely deserves that. Like, if we're talking about this it's not a it is classified, I would say, as a shuttle. It's basically a shuttle. It's about the size of, I would say, like, like a shuttle. But I know it has laser cannons, and I
Hmm.
believe it has two proton torpedo
Yes,
launchers, if I
it
remember
does.
correctly.
Yep.
So I do know that in universe, it's one of the best ships, lore wise, that I
Hmm.
recall. I've been playing the game, so I would give it a legendary
Yeah, I
status
just
in
realized. Yeah,
universe.
I just realized the way you described it. It's literally like your shuttle versus the shuttle she tells you not to worry about.
Right? Exactly.
That's literally how you've described
Right.
it, or how we've described
Yeah.
it. Which, yeah. So with that being the case, yeah, it is. We can put it up there now in a full universe with all of these ships. This is not a combat ship. This is a
Oh, no.
shuttle. This is going to get if Jan or Kyle are not flying this thing, it's getting blasted into space dust. And even if they are flying it, both of them are going to be like, yeah, no, we don't need to be here. We need to leave. This is not a combat ship.
Oh,
So,
absolutely
yeah.
not.
All right. So, how about you pick and then start us off?
Can it be any ship,
Yeah,
or do you
grab
wanna
whatever.
You know what? I'll, for my Star Fox friends, I'll do the R-Wing. Let's start
All
with the
right.
R-Wing.
Which
So, now
one? The Mark
s
1, 2. Well, we'll talk about that later. Yeah. I'll just grab the R Wing. Here we
we'll
go.
do the so this is the R-Wing Mach 2. This is the one that I specifically have. It's only reliable, so you guys can see it. As you know, the R-Wing is seen as one of the most advanced starfighters in all of
Hmm.
Star Fox. It's looked as the pristine, like, starfighter that any person would love to fly. And now this particular version is the Mach 2 that we see in the 2026 version, or the remake of Star Fox 64.
Hmm.
Now, again, it has the same capabilities. If you know, the Mach 2 specifically is from 64, and if you want to include adventures, because there is the retrofit version of it, which
Yeah.
it has the same capabilities, just looks different.
Yeah.
Now, there are a couple things that I really like with this space fighter. Now, the first thing is that it has a G diffuser system, which many Star Fox fans are like, yes, I know what that is. But for those that don't know what the G diffuser system is, it's the blue sides of the R Wing, right? It's basically a way that it's an advanced piece of technology, to try and keep it as simple as possible, that basically makes it stand above its own, and where it can deflect enemy fire. And on top of that G diffuser system, what kind of weapons capabilities does this thing have? Well, it has three modes of laser. You have your standard laser, your twin lasers, and your hyper lasers, which can do tons of damage to pretty much any capital ship,
Hmm.
anything, like literally anything, even Andross himself.
Anti dat shit. What is dat
And
shit?
yes,
Just point at
Point,
something.
yeah,
That
anti
shit.
that shit, right,
Yes.
exactly. The other thing too is that it also carries plenty of bombs, particularly smart or Nova bombs, whoever you're asking. But though in which those do literally instant damage to anything in its sights. Now,
Mhm.
in terms of some downfalls with it, if it loses a wing, it loses any power to the lasers, of course, which is pretty bad to say the least. Now, of course, we're talking about this on normal mode. We're not talking
Mhm.
about on expert
Yeah.
mode. But in terms of in universe, it's obviously legendary. It could take on pretty much any situation. It's gone up against in this particular setting of it, it's gone up against not only Andross's entire armada in military, it's gone up against another fighter that you will see on here, or actually, I think another one. I don't know if I see there is the other one. So there's two fighters on here that
Mhm.
you will see.
Yeah.
Now the thing too is it's hyper very maneuverable, and just so you know, there's only a handful of these.
Yeah.
Okay, there's only 4 currently in existence. So it's a very rare ship and it's very expensive. Now, for me, I would put it in legendary, obviously,
Mhm.
because I mean, who the hell would not put the R-Wing in
Yeah.
legendary? Because realistically, the only thing that's stopping this thing from not being good is the pilot itself.
Yep.
Because if you lose the wing, like, because you can really only lose a wing if you crash into shit,
Yeah.
honestly. Um, Now, did you wanna say anything on your
Yes.
end about
Yes,
it
I
as
do.
well? Sure, go
And
for it.
as you said, he goes like, "Who wouldn't put it in legendary?" Me, I would, because. But before people get their blasters and their pitchforks out, let me explain. So there are 3 versions of the R Wing. The R Wing Mark One, which was basically, I think, now called the prototype R Wing, which is the one we see in the original
Mhm,
SNES Star Fox. Then we get the R Wing Mark Two, or R Wing MK Mark II, which is the one we see in Star Fox 64 and in the new Star Fox game that came out, and along with the
mhm,
retrofitted version and Adventures. And then the Mark III R Wing, the most advanced model, is the one we see in Assault. Here's the thing. You don't know this, but all of my community knows. I'm a military historian. I study military history, tactics, weaponry, and all that stuff. And Austin's correct. In its own universe, the R Wing is the premier, like, is the end all be all starship. However, the problem is, like he mentioned, the price. The problem with the R Wing is that I think, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, I think, didn't they say in the new lore that because it's expensive, that's why the Cornarian army didn't adopt it and they just had these,
correct.
yeah, they just have like 4 or 5 of them sitting around, which was taken by the Star Fox team. The thing is, an effective weapon system, in my opinion, is something that you can, is that you can something. Thank you, Purple Badger Hayes, for the follow. I appreciate it. A weapon system is something that you can, you can mass produce and be able to repair quickly if it's damaged. Now, yes, in its setting, I'm willing to say it. Yes, it's a legendary ship, but outside of that, I'm only putting it at combat proven because if this thing gets damaged and you don't have the parts sitting around for it, well, guess what? You better start jury rigging some stuff. Get Slippy to start slapping some metal on it because, well, there are no replacements. Oh, thank you for the sub. Thank you. Was that from, yeah, Dear Valentine? Thank you for the sub with Prime. Thank you. Twitch Prom. Thank you very much. Um, but yes, I do agree with you. Now, personally, I'm biased. I think the R Wing Mark III is the best version, but I'm biased.
But
So,
realistically speaking, though, because if we go through the lore of, because if I'm being kinda completely honest with you, with what they do in this version in 2026,
mhm.
they actually show that the R-Wing is very versatile for
Oh
flying
yeah,
on the sun. They actually explain that. Now, my thing is that while I do agree that, of course, the Mark III version is better than this, like, if I'm talking about this in universe, obviously the Mark III is better, but then you can also use the same logic of it being expensive with the Mach
yeah,
3.
exactly.
And the thing is, but here's the thing though, when it comes to repairing, you have a guy in Slippy that
Mhm,
is able to repair these things very quickly. And
mhm.
I think that that's where I put it in legendary, because if we're being completely honest, because only the Star Fox team is piloting them,
Yeah,
that's one thing.
mhm.
Because I do believe that if it was mass produced, I think it would not have the same level of oomph as it
Yeah,
does
of course.
in, but that's just my opinion,
Yeah,
though. If I'm being kinda honest with you, if it's in an like, if I put it in any other universe, I would put it in combat proven,
mhm.
but in universe, I do think it's legendary.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion, though.
And Zach, the reason in now, first of all, we know Command is not canon. But the reason it's the Mark II R wing in command is because that was actually explained. The Mark IIIs were Fox and Rob couldn't maintain the Mark IIIs. They were too advanced and there wasn't enough money and there wasn't enough
Yeah.
stuff coming in. So they used the Mark IIs. And again, that says something that the Mark IIs are still around years after the Lilat Wars and are still more than capable of going toe to toe with anything they go up
And
against.
and that's why I say it's a legendary
Yeah,
ship because
yes.
and that's another thing. Not to keep well, then we're gonna be going for a while, but that's I think where I want to stamp my approval is it's very much so like the I want to say what the F-22. It's like the F-22 or F-15 of the Star Fox universe because literally even this thing has been around with if we're talking about the entire lore of Star Fox, the Mach 2 came about when Fox, I think I want to say was maybe like
And he
he
was in
wasn't
the
even born
academy.
yet.
He was in
Maybe
no,
or
he
the
was in the
academy.
he was in
Oh
the
no, no, sorry.
academy.
He was in the academy, and I remember that we see the Mach 2s being flown by James and the team, right? But
Mhm.
my point is that from when he was 13 years old all the way until he's like 29, 30 years old, this thing is still holding its own. Granted, they do get sidelined in an assault, of course. But my thing is the fact that they're still reliable even after all
Mhm.
those years is just a testament to
Yeah,
how
I
awesome
agree.
this
And don't
craft is.
forget, for those who are also not aware, the Mark II is not oh wow. Well, shared hype. Wait, is that on my
Yes, that's good.
channel?
No, it's
Okay.
on both of our
Oh
channels.
yeah,
It's a
both of our
shared
channel.
one.
Okay, thank you. Seriously. Um
Thank you guys.
Yeah, so, but here's consider this, and I'm sure Austin knows this, and some of y'all probably do too. Remember, the Mark IIs are not easy to fly. They're not.
They're not.
The Mark IIs are extremely difficult to fly. And mind you, if the Mark IIIs are even faster, that means that more than likely the Mark IIs were kept in storage on the Great Fox or somewhere and were used for training purposes. And if you're shoving Crystal, it's Crystal. Crystal's the only new pilot. If that was her practice flight, then no, I've made the joke before, like when I read that for the first time,
Yeah.
the running joke was that Crystal learned to fly in like a Mark 1, then she started doing most of her training in a Mark 2. I remember thinking, I'm like, Fox, are you trying to kill your girlfriend? Like you're literally throwing her in like the
They're gonna
most
kill my
yeah,
parents
you're
are
gonna
gonna kill
kill
each
Austin's
other.
mom. But again, it's and also let's also not forget the Mark threes like the Mark twos had already done some crazy BS. They've done some
Mhm.
crazy stuff. And if the Mark three could do even more than that, then yeah, no, it makes sense that if you can't maintain the Mark threes, you can go back and be like, well, the Mark twos are over a decade old and they're still swinging, so why would we change them?
Right. Exactly, and I think, like, this is where on our tier list, we might move stuff around, but also put
Mhm.
things in front of it. Like, I think that now, here's my question is, like, where are we gonna put this? Do you wanna put it in combat proven for now, or do you wanna put this in legendary
No,
above,
it goes, yeah, for
okay.
now, it goes where it is. So,
Like I said, we wanna
yeah.
move
Oh,
it
yeah, yeah,
down,
yeah.
like, so yeah.
Yeah. So it's my turn. And after that bit of positivity, let's do some shit talking. Let's talk about the command version of the
Let's
Great
go.
Fox. All
Go
right,
for it.
I'm starting this off.
Go for it,
Okay.
go for it.
First of all, this is a piece of shit. You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting. If I could kill it, I would. But again, murder is wrong. But I have thought about it. Here's the problem I have with this. For those who don't know your lore, the Great Fox Mark II. Pretty sure it's the Great Fox Mark II by the time it's
It's just
assault.
Gray Fox
Oh,
too,
yeah,
yeah.
Great Fox 2. So the Great Fox gets destroyed at the end of Assault. And after that, Fox and Rob are basically still running the Star Fox team. Peppy is now in charge of the Cornerian military. And when the Angler Empire becomes a problem, yes, I know Command's not canon, bear with me. When the Angler Empire becomes a problem and Fox comes to Peppy, his basically pseudo granddad, and is like, hey, we need a new ship. What does Peppy do? Oh, just go to the nearest junkyard and pull this thing out of it. I'm not kidding. It literally says that this was a scrapped carrier, a carrier design from the Lilat Wars. It is over a decade old. It can't take a beating like the Great Fox can. I don't even think it has weapons. And no, the cruise missile launcher doesn't count. It doesn't have ways to defend itself. You have to use the pilots. It can't defend itself. And this was the ship that Peppy was like, yeah, no, that'll do. That'll do for the new Great Fox. I'm honestly surprised Fox wasn't like, really? That's it? That's all we can get? Because And I think that's the other thing that annoys me is that if you get this ship, why? Again, I know this is a bad joke, but why not pimp my ride? Why is it just out of the box, bog standard, can't do anything? Why not modify it or make it more specialized? But no, it serves one purpose. It's a carrier. It cannot defend itself without ships. It cannot move very quickly. And if it gets hit once, it's once, right? Like once or twice, it blows up.
Correct. If either a wave of enemy fighters or gets hit by a missile. Now the missiles that are in command are pretty large. But even then, like we'll the Gray Fox is on here for those that are wondering, and we'll get to that. But I don't want to jump the gun. At least the Great Fox could take a hit from a one copperhead missile, and those things are huge.
Yeah.
Like this thing, and I wanted to also add, like we were talking about this in the green room too. For those that don't know, Takia Imamura, who is the creative design, creative mind behind the whole universe of Star Fox, himself that it's not a personal craft, but Star Fox is using a rental model, and some other teams, including Star Wolf, have used the same model. I wanted to save that for the stream.
Which is
for those that
also
didn't know that.
which also
Which is
pisses
worse.
me. Yeah, which is worse because that means that Peppy loaned this ship out. And to me, I'm like, Peppy, seriously? Seriously.
Well,
It's a
the
piece of junk.
the other thing too, though, is canonically there is about 3 years time between Assault and Command around that period of time. Now we don't know how long it took the Great Fox to be built. I want to say it was maybe between, I want to say like 5 years, maybe. I have to go back and brush up because they don't really specify how long it took the Great
Yeah.
Fox to be built. We know who commissioned it. We
Yeah.
know who made it. We know that. But going back to the Great Fox 2, the one thing that I will say, it does have some form of offensive capabilities where it can literally fire a fucking missile that will destroy an entire wave of enemies, no matter how large the wave of enemies is, which is interesting for sure. But to your point, Zaruk, it's just a carrier.
Yeah.
It literally cannot. It has some. It can't defend itself reasonably. The fact that it's a rental model, well, not even that. The fact that it literally is just putting you from point A to point B. No, it needs to be scrapped.
Yeah.
It's literally
And
arguably the worst on
and
this
if
list.
and if and I would have said, and here's the thing, had you been able to modify it, like maybe Command gave you a way to upgrade it and make it modular so you could change things out, then yeah, I'd bump it up in rank. But the problem is that it doesn't do that. It literally serves the purpose of getting the team to where they need to go. And now,
Mhm.
to quickly play devil's advocate, I will point out that yes, there is an argument to be made that Peppy gave the ship to Fox and Rob because they were the only two members of the team at the time, and you would need something that would need to be run by two people. Okay, fair. I could see that. Except Peppy still wanted Fox to pay for it because it's a rental.
Yeah.
So
Now to
yeah,
yeah, and to Wheat Cube Films' point, and I know that this is something that's mentioned. It is a basically stripped down, decommissioned Cornerian assault craft. Correct. It's
yeah,
basically. It also, with that being said, too, that's implying that it's outdated. And
yeah.
the thing is like when we talk about the Great Fox, we see it get upgrades from Star Fox 64. Obviously, when it was kind of an assault, it was in disrepair to the newer version we see in assault, right? Because it has all the latest tech and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I can completely understand but to this point, and this is why I hate Command, they don't really do a good job with the writing to explain
No.
things. Like if they had explained, listen, we need to get something, can you please give us a ship? And they said, this is what I can do for you while we commission another one or something to that effect, that would be fine. That's all they had to say. But even then, I would still put this shit in scrap. Like I'm not gonna.
Yeah. And you want to know the funny thing is, we'll talk about it later. But there is a ship on here that is a stripped down, decommissioned museum ship, and she kicks more ass than this piece of junk ever will. So, but yeah, it's your
Exactly.
turn now. So, what do you?
Well,
what should we talk
I'm
about?
gonna go with one of my favorite ships as a kid and of all time. I'm gonna go with the Millennium Falcon.
All
Now
right,
look,
cool. Let's see
um,
where.
for those that
Yep.
there it is. So for those that don't know, I'm a huge Star Wars nerd, right? I love Star Fox and Star Wars. Like that's kind of why they went hand in hand with one another. Now, for those that don't know, the Millennium Falcon, of course, is not just like a starfighter. It's a basically a freighter. It's a
Mhm.
Corellian freighter
YT
that
YT 1300, right? In that the designation?
Yeah, YT 1300,
Mhm.
correct. Yep, Corellian frigate that was repurposed. Of course, everyone knows that it was flown by both Han Solo and Lando Calrissian. But what specifically about this what makes me crack up is because I know that in A New Hope, Han Solo brings up, oh, it did the Kessel run in 12 parsecs, which again, if anyone knows what a parsec is, it is not a
It's
measurement of
distance.
it's which some people are like, oh, actually, but whatever. I don't care. My point is that the Millennium Falcon is one of for how big this ship is. It is one of the most maneuverable craft in all of Star Wars.
Mhm.
And on top of that, of course, it can definitely defend itself because not only can the turrets like be forward facing and you can use it in any fight like we see in Revenge of the Jedi or Return of the Jedi. And we also see in A New Hope how like
Yep.
there are gunners that can manually aim, and there are some deleted scenes in Return of the Jedi where you see that during the Battle of Endor.
Mhm.
But what I really love about this ship is that it's just I don't know how I can describe it other than, yes, what a piece of junk according to Luke
Yeah.
Skywalker, but it really isn't. Again, it can haul things around. Obviously, if you don't know, the Millennium Falcon has been used for other things aside from combat. Of course, it hauls a bunch of stuff around. We also see it be
Mhm.
used in stealth missions as well, right? We
Yep.
see it be used in Return of the Jedi when they go to Endor
Yep.
or excuse me, that was when they were on the ship,
Yeah.
the Imperial
She
cruiser,
can basically do anything, whatever you
everything.
need her
That's
to
what I was
do.
getting at. I'm thinking of a game where they do that, but like that's probably why I got confused.
Yeah.
But my thing is that it is extremely flexible.
Mhm.
That is what I love about this ship. I can go on and on and on and on about how much you can use it, not only to take down enemy cruisers. Like we've seen it in Empire Strikes Back. It can navigate a huge, densely packed
Yep.
asteroid field, and also like this is the other thing that people don't realize what it can do is it can attach to star destroyers. It can attach to enemy ships, and it can be completely hidden when you turn off all the power,
Yep.
which I guess that's including life support. But
Yeah.
but like my thing is that I personally think that for the Star Wars universe, it is definitely a legendary ship. Um, no duh. I mean, it has an iconic name. There's a reason everyone knows it.
Yeah.
I understand. Now, of course, in other universes, we'll see. But I mean, I don't have much more to say other than it's so what makes it legendary is just how versatile this ship can be
Exactly.
used. Yeah.
And I think and to add on to that, so yes, in the sense of its own universe, yes, I would say it's a legendary ship and of course more legendary than the Raven's Claw, but but I would also argue that the other thing about the Millennium Falcon is that yes, it is like when Luke says, "What a piece of junk," he's referring to the part that the YT 1300 is actually outdated by the time a New Hope
Yes.
comes along. Like, for example, if you're a fan of Shadows of the Empire and you know the Outrider is the newest version. That's like the YT
Mhm.
1800 or something. So it's the new version. But the thing is that as we know, the Millennium Falcon's whole thing is that it's customizable and it can be constantly adapted. Like Austin said, it can do new things. It can do crazy stuff that it should not be able to do. So now, granted, is it going to go toe? Yeah, thank you. The 2400. Thank you. Now, is it going to go toe to toe with a lot of the other ships on this list? No, of course not. However, it can do something that I think we both neglected. It's one of very few ships like itself that's light speed capable. Not many
Mhm.
ships in the Star Wars universe that are that size are like they even make the joke, no ship like that has a hyperdrive. Wrong, it does. So yeah, I agree. It is definitely in its own universe, it is a legendary ship. Um, but and so yeah, so I'm willing to give it that. And besides, one could argue that yeah, it has to go up against other stuff. But as Han Solo himself says, this baby still got a few surprises left in her. So yeah,
Yeah.
hyperdrive go burr.
And we've seen, but the thing is we've seen the Millennium Falcon used throughout. If you want to go through all of the movies that we've
Oh
seen it
yeah.
in, again, it's kind of similar to how I talked about the R wing, where you look about. You look at through the history and even how outdated this ship is compared to other things, it's still running strong
Mhm.
and it's been through a lot. And it's what always made me crack up. A side little note is in Return of the Jedi when they're going into the Death Star 2 to blow it up and
They
in
lose the
Lando
top part.
they lose the antenna. They lose the antenna. It's just like so funny because then like I can only imagine what Han would be like. What the hell happened to the
Yeah,
antenna?
yeah,
But
yeah. I
but
mean,
like
yeah,
we
yeah,
for the greater good,
yeah. All right,
Oh,
so my turn. Um,
go for it.
all right, we're gonna oh boy. So this is where I make you. This might be the end of our friendship. Because
Mhm,
I'm about to make you hate me. I'm also
mhm,
about to make your community hate me. Let's talk about the Cosmo Tiger special. Um, so I'm let me pull up a better image than this real quick so y'all can see it. I will hold on a sec. Let me give me a sec so I can show you all this. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I grabbed this and I was like, yeah, no, I need to show this god awful thing. Here you go. I'm sorry. So this is the Cosmo Tiger special from the what? Yeah, this is from Space Battleship Yamato. Um So, okay, preface, please don't kill me. So, this is a combination ship. It is the combination of Earth tech and alien tech. This is from Space Battleship Yamato. Um, so what this is, yeah, from the newer CG series, yes.
yeah, I
Um,
know. Yeah, for those that know, I know what it is. I'm not sure if my community is aware
Yeah.
of what this
So yeah. So
is.
here's the deal about this thing. Like I said, it is the combination of Earth and alien tech, and basically what it is this starfighter. It is a starfighter. It can fly an atmosphere, but this is a starfighter. This is literally what happens when an Earth crew said an Earth group of like aerospace engineers says, "Hey, we got this really fast flying frame. How many weapons do we gonna want to stick on it?" And the chief engineer shotguns an entire bottle of whiskey and says, "Yes." Because
Yeah, honestly.
yeah, because the Cosmo Tiger special has, as you can see, uh, has 18 missile launchers. Those are high grade missiles, by the way. We're talking like, very high grade missiles. We're talking like something that can punch through a capital ship. It has two railgun launchers on the side. And before anyone says, "Dear God, how do you fly this thing?" With luck. And here's the crazy part. These things are stable enough to fire all of these missiles without, getting thrown off course. And they're also capable of carrying exosuits. Like these things are strong enough to have an exosuit right on top of it. And
Mhm.
when the weapons are done, when the missiles are gone and the rail cannons are out of ammunition, they can be dropped off. Like you can drop them off and fly with a far lighter frame. And without the weight, these things are stupidly quick without the weight. We're talking like doing things that an Ace Combat protagonist does on a daily basis. However, that's not what they're for. They're literally meant to be the flying wall of guns. And for what they do, if you get enough of them together, you can literally make a wall of missiles that literally say no entry beyond here. But I'm also willing to say that it's really like in both the show or like the CG show and like just from an aesthetic point, they do get blown up pretty easily because surprise,
Yeah.
surprise, flying around with a bunch of high explosives means you go boom really easily. So I'm
Mhm.
literally, for me, I want to put it in the needs work category because I see what they're doing, but this ain't it. This is not it.
No, I definitely understand. See, and this is the thing is that like, and this is one thing I never liked about it was it very felt like the one thing I will say that I liked about it is that if I remember from the was it the show? I'm sorry,
Yeah,
right?
you're right. I
Yeah.
mean,
I'm
yeah,
like I'm thinking because I thought they did a movie. And I was like, I thought they
they
did,
did,
but
but it's from the show. Yeah,
yeah, I'm like, brain, like, think, because I haven't seen it in a really long
yeah,
time. If I recall, like, one of the things I really like about it is that it definitely can fight alongside other battleships with
yep.
larger fleets. So it has that capabilities, which help boost it up. I think the thing for me is it's not as maneuverable as some of the other ships that we've talked
No, it's
about.
not.
I think it's definitely an easier target and closer, but it's definitely like it has its purpose for
Mhm.
sure. But like if we're talking about like it versus other craft, I agree. It
Yeah.
is going to need some work, but it does pack one hell of a
Yeah,
punch.
it is
And
literally
yeah,
it's literally what you launch.
it's overgunned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, when
Yeah.
you see another capital ship in the distance and you're like, "Hey, I don't wanna see that anymore." You launch the Tiger specials to, like, blow it away, basically.
Exactly. And that's kind of it's kind of the best way I could describe it. It's a certain version of a bomber
Yeah.
basically. But again, with bombers, there are certain ones on here that actually are functioning bombers, but we'll talk about which ones are
Mhm.
better now. But yeah, I agree. It does need some work
Alright,
for sure.
so your turn.
You know what? We've been doing a lot of let me see if I could find I'm going through my notes. I have notes here, chat. So, let's do okay, I want to do the saber, not my fiance and future wife. The saber from Halo. This is
Okay.
the for those that don't know, this is the I believe the F1000. I think
Yeah.
I see it. F35. I have it in my note. Where did I have it as? Okay, here it is. The FSS
Yeah,
1000
here it is.
saber.
Yeah, here it is.
All
I
right.
will,
So for those
yeah, let me pull up a
there,
picture of it for people.
um
This is the thing from Reach, right?
correct. This is the thing so for those that don't know, this is one of the missions where the whole excursion with their because they have the one super carrier, which we have. I think we have not a super carrier on. No, did I put a super carrier on here? I don't think so. But my thing is that there's a mission in Halo Reach where the Spartan team that you take part of, Noble Team, has to use these spacecraft to rendezvous with another frigate, which I believe is on this list as well, which we'll get to. I'm not trying to spoil it. And so what happens is you rendezvous at the space station above orbit, and you go and attack a smaller Covenant frigate, which you commandeer and use a slip space drive to
Yeah.
to blow up a Covenant supercarrier, but it was all for nothing
Yep.
because
Slip
the
space
whole
rupture
Covenant yeah,
detected.
yeah,
Slip space
right.
rupture detected. Yeah.
Here's the thing. As much as I like this ship, there are several flaws with it. Number one, of course, it doesn't use laser
Nope.
technology like the other ships that we have on here. It uses generic machine guns and missiles. Now, the missiles are pretty good, but we have seen how it does against the Covenant ships, which are shielded and also use
Mhm.
laser weaponry. So that's a good bar to show. It has its own shields and stuff like that. However, the craft itself has to be launched from the ground of a planet,
Yep.
unless they're already in orbit,
Mhm.
basically.
Yep.
That's one of the things that I don't really like about it is that it is very much so limited in what it can do combat wise. In fact, I know that. Well, I personally love that mission in Reach. By the way, it's one of my
Same.
favorite when you fly around to do. It's Operation Uppercut, if I remember the thing.
Mhm.
Um, it's just I get so upset with this thing because I want it to be better than what it is, but for the weaponry that it has, it would be it's okay in some combat situations and it's more maneuverable to where I don't think it needs work. Part of me says it does need work to take on the other things here, but in
Mhm.
universe it is reliable.
Yeah.
But again, there are things that prevent it from moving up in the
Yeah.
list.
And you know what? I can agree with that. It being in the reliable section because yes, it does have to be launched from the surface of a planet. You actually have to use a full on like rocket like
Yes.
rocket setup to get it into orbit. However, once it's in orbit, it can fly under its own power and is more than capable of going toe to toe with a lot of Covenant shit like fighter craft and everything. If I recall, they mentioned in Reach that it's also a prototype. Like they were playing like Reach.
Correct, it is a
Yeah,
prototype.
yeah, which is why we don't see more of them later on in the series because they weren't able to finish producing them. But again, for what it does, it is really effective. Um, I love the angular design. I love, the whole thing of like the engines on the wings. And yeah, it does use like kinetic weapons and missiles and everything. But again, like that's kind of Halo's whole thing is that humanity is still using kinetics and all that kind of stuff. Now, personally,
Mhm.
it'd be kind of cool if we could mount a rail gun or a Gauss cannon on the thing. But for what it is really effective. And it only like again, the other cool thing about it is that anyone can fly them. You don't have to be a Spartan to fly it. You can be as
Yes.
long as you're trained, you can fly it. So, and it does require a two-man team. You need someone to fly it, and then someone to. Hey, Tempia, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Forest of Memories. You need someone to pilot it, and then you need a you need a Wizzo, a weapons radar. Sorry, yeah, you need a you need a weapons officer or a weapons operator in the back, basically
Mhm.
man everything, which is what George was doing for Noble Six. But yeah, I know I agree with Austin. This is a very reliable space fight, starfight or spaceship, and had it been mass produced, probably would have helped out in the later games if we had more of them. But whatever, it didn't
Yeah.
happen. So all right, so with that being the case, we've talked about some. Let's switch back over to another capital ship. Um, I wanted to talk about about the Iron Lady a little bit later, but I think now is the time. Let's talk about the
Mhm.
Galactica, because if talking about the Galactica means we get to kick the Command Great Fox again. Yeah, the horse is dead, but we're gonna keep kicking it anyway. Um, okay, so for those who don't know, I'm pulling up the thing right now. For those who don't know, this is the Battlestar Galactica from the series of the same name. This is the stripped down version of Galactica. This is like the museum version of her. So Galactica is one of 12 Jupiter class battle stars. She is the most famous of the battle stars. And if we had her, I did have a picture of it, but it wasn't a very good one. There is a version of her like from the first Cylon War, which has all of her weapons, all of her guns, and all of her
Yes. Mhm.
defenses. But there's not very many pictures of that. Instead, we're going off the one that shows up in the series, in the TV show. And yeah, this is reboot Galactica.
I
And
specifically picked this
yes,
one
I
for a
agree.
reason.
Yes, no, I agree. Now, again, this is the stripped down Museum Galactica. She has like all of her systems are outdated. She still uses like manual fire control. She still uses like, radio communication throughout the ship to communicate with everyone. The fighters that she launches are old and outdated. However, this is where we get to talk about. However, this decommissioned museum ship kicks ass because wherever Galactica goes, she usually wins. She can
Mhm.
take on she can be outnumbered by 5 to 1 odds, maybe even more than that in capital ships. Her fighter crews can be outnumbered 10 to 1, but they still win because, well, Galactica's that tough of a ship. She's also one of the only ships I think we've got in this list. She has no shielding. She's just got armor. She's covered in thick, like thick, heavy duty armor, and she's also got something that a lot of the other things here don't have: anti-air systems. She has massive flak batteries that are good at shooting down fighters and missiles. She has both close in weapon systems for anything that gets too close. And if you have not seen, and this is something y'all need to do for homework, I don't want to tell Austin's community what to do, but I think he'll agree with me. This is worth doing. Go look up on YouTube Galactica firing all batteries, like all of her weapons
It's
firing at
awesome.
once. It is beautiful to see. Like it is a sight to behold. And now, as cool as she is, I'm not going to put her in legendary, at least in my opinion, because at the end of the day, she is not invincible. She does get beat up on, she does get damaged, she does get scarred and blasted. But the thing about her is that, and she, heck, the last jump she makes, FTLK, she breaks her own back. Like the ship's dorsal spine breaks after making the jump, and she survives the jump, but as they say, she's broken her back. She'll never jump again. Um,
Yep.
but she is, again, I call her the Iron Lady because wherever Galactica goes, the Cylons think, ah, shit, it's that one. So yeah, to
Mhm.
me, she's a combat proven ship. That's just
Oh,
me.
I agree, and a couple things to add on that people don't know. She does have
Yeah, she
FTL
is FTL
capabilities,
capable.
and what makes her now again, no shit, it's gonna be better than the Great Fox too, but she is a very large capital ship. She
She
has
is
tons. I think if I remember correctly, she has like hundreds of Viper class starfighters in her,
about
and on
About
Is it
80. About 80.
80?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanna say it was like 80 to 100, and
Hmm.
again, but she has a large crew. Now there are a couple things, again, Zaruk pointed out the point defense network that it has, absolutely fantastic, and again, all reliable. Like,
Hmm.
I love Battlestar Galactica. I absolutely love, everything about it, specifically this version, because it goes to show you that no matter how outdated this thing is, it could still kick some fucking ass if it needs to. Now, the one thing,
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Before you
oh,
continue, I forgot Zach. I forgot Zach's right. She tanked nukes. I
I
forgot.
was gonna bring that. I was just about to
Yeah,
bring that
she's
up. So
tanked
for those that,
nukes.
don't know, the battle stars are capable of taking on nukes head on. Like they are that durable. And
Yeah.
the other thing too is I could be wrong on this, but I vividly remember another reason I like this version of the ship is they're resistant to cyber warfare,
They
basically,
are
if I recall.
because
So
they're
that's,
old. They're
yeah, they're
older.
because
Yeah.
it's old.
Yep.
That's why I like this version of Battlestar Galactica as
Hmm.
opposed to her in her prime, basically.
Yeah.
Now, a couple things that I think that Zaruk mentioned that I wanted to bring up that pushes it down into combat proven. It isn't unbeatable, slower, it's not as maneuverable as some of the other craft, no energy shields. On top of that, when she gets a lot of sustained damage, she does wear down. And also the ammunition and supplies are finite because there's
Yeah.
only so much that she can
Yeah.
do. And also, last thing, and I'll shut up, she needs a large crew to manage her.
Yes, she
She, out
does.
of all of the ships that we've so far talked about, she is by far, like, literally, you can combine all of the crews that you would need to operate on all the other ships combined, and she laps it by many dozens
Yeah.
and plentyfold.
You need a
So again,
yeah. You need a
yeah,
crew of
you need a
hundreds to maintain
correct.
Galactica.
And so again, I still think she's a great ship, combat proven, but not invincible.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not putting her
Mhm.
in legendary for a capital ship.
Yeah.
That
Now, it
is
should be
too.
mentioned that Pegasus, which is the Mercury class battle star that shows up in the show, Pegasus fixes a lot of the problems we've mentioned. Pegasus is bigger. She has her own, not only does she have her own internal systems, which means that they can literally manufacture fighters, ammunition, and material on board the ship. It
Mhm.
also has VR training, so they can train new pilots, something Galactica can't do. And Pegasus also has more guns. Pegasus can actually be offensive, whereas Galactica is more defensive. The problem with Pegasus is, though, well, like Austin said, the crew's even bigger. Pegasus has even
Right.
more people on board. So the main thing is that's the thing about the battle stars. They are tough ass ships, but they're like real life aircraft carriers. They need hundreds, if not thousands, of people to maintain them. So
Mhm.
yeah. So oh,
Yeah,
yeah, go
again,
ahead.
anybody that knows me, we do have another ship on here from Battlestar Galactica, which we'll get to
Yeah.
later because again, anyone that knows me knows that I love this particular series because there's just things about the way the universe like that's the thing what I love about sci-fi is like when you do certain things in lore that like Halo for example, right? Like Halo, we're talking about 2500 and they're yes, they have faster than light travel, but they kind of explain it, but they're not using full on laser. I'm talking about
Mhm.
humans, by the way.
Yeah.
But like that's the things that I absolutely love about it. Now, are you ready to move on? Or are we
Yeah, go ahead.
good?
What's your next
Okay.
one?
Um, let's go with I think this is a starship everybody should know about. We'll keep it in the cruiser section. Let's do the USS Enterprise.
Okay, the
Um,
classic Enterprise.
the classic Enterprise specifically. I believe this is
NCC
the
1701, the original.
yeah, yeah, the original one. I had to make sure I got the original one because for those that don't know, there are many versions of the Enterprise. I wanted to go with the original one just to make sure it's easy, and I have zero comments. um, obviously, the Star Trek universe operates a lot differently.
Yeah, yes.
That's
Yes.
so I think we need to kind of specify that as well. So of course we know that it uses so, does it just use I'm trying to remember because I haven't watched Star
Phasers.
Trek in a really long
Phasers.
phasers. I'm
Phasers
like,
and
what
photon
is the
torpedoes.
term?
Phasers
What
and
is
photon
this?
torpedoes. Yep. And yes, I love yeah, Zach. Yeah. NCC 1701. No bloody A, B, C, or D. This is the classic.
Yes, this I absolutely love this particular version. I'm just pulling up my notes
Yeah.
for it because, like, again, like I said, I have not watched Star Trek in a really. I actually am one. I'm not sure what your favorite version of Star. Mine is the Next Generation. I love the Next Generation.
Yeah,
That's
I
my
Deep
personal
Space
favorite.
Nine is my personal favorite.
Yeah, gotcha.
So this
Okay.
is the oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I was gonna say, so real quick to
Mhm.
specify, this is the original Enterprise. I know some people are saying, oh, Enterprise A. No, 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 no. This is the original Enterprise. Enterprise A would have the big blue light on the center point right
Correct.
here. Because A is is the Constitution class refit. This is the standard Constitution class. So this is NCC 1701 from the
Yes.
like from Captain Kirk's time.
Captain Kirk time. Like, so because again, like I know some people be like, oh, but what about this version? I'm like, no, because if we did that, I could be gone here for like 4 hours talking about each version of the
Mhm.
Enterprise. So what I really like about it, and I had finally found my notes. What I really like about it, it's kind of similar to some of the other ships that I talked about. It's a multi-role ship. It can help explore unknown. It can be recon. It can do scientific research, transport. It can also be used to like actually defend and attack. But it also has a warp drive, so it doesn't use like hyperspace, right? It uses warp drives, like where it uses these, it warps the space around them to travel longer distances. It's a
Mhm.
different form of FTL for those that don't know. Now, the other thing too is it has the phaser banks, of course. It has the photon torpedoes. And usually it can take on ships one on one pretty well,
Oh yeah.
usually. And in most situations. Again, I do like it also has shields, of course. Um, now the one thing I will say that I think makes this ship very unique is the crew that it has is one of the most elite sets of crews
Mhm.
amongst all of the other individual ships. Now some of them are just one pilot, so I get it. So like but if we're talking about the best version of each pilot of each of those ships that we've already talked about, this has arguably one of the best casts
Yeah.
of characters when
Oh
it
yeah.
comes to what, because you got Captain Kirk, one of the best leaders in sci-fi history, in my humble opinion. You
Mhm.
have Spock, one of the most intelligent minds in sci-fi history, I would
Mhm.
say. I think you got McCoy being the medic, and I believe Scotty
Is the
is
engineer. Yep.
the engineer. Now,
And Mr.
of
Sulu.
course,
And Mr.
and
Sulu.
Mr. Right, and I forgot about him. Jesus. Now, one thing I will say about this, where I think I would put this, I would say in. You could argue it's a legendary ship based off of
Well,
that.
I
A
would
couple of. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say one of the things that I don't like, of course, it's a bigger ship, so it's not as maneuverable compared to some of
Mhm.
these other ships. Now, you might say that kind of goes in the same line of Battlestar Galactica, but I'm like, okay, well, hold on. The thing is that the the thing is with how the ship is designed, there are certain sections that you can easily take out, and the ship can be
Yep.
incapacitated.
Yep.
The, so, for example, you could take out the warp
Nacelles.
nacelles, which is typically what you would want to do. For those that don't know, the
Mhm.
nacelles, they're the things on the side. But anyway,
Yeah, these things.
I think right, yeah, the things on the side. Um, and then once you do that, it basically becomes just you're floating in water. Basically, you're just
Mhm.
a dead ship. Now the thing is also crew intensive. Like you could say it's the same thing like Battlestar Galactica. It's very
Actually, I
crew intensive.
checked. The Enterprise only has 200 people on board. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. I more so mean that like
You need a
you
lot of
need a
people.
correct. That's kind of more so. And then of course the other thing too is it's the original.
Yeah.
Obviously, if we're talking about the other things that are going on in universe, of course,
Yeah.
you will see there are better versions of the Enterprise that come
Of
about that
course.
fix some of the problems. But
Mhm.
that's the reason I picked the original.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing is that again, I just really think that I really like the ship. I honestly would argue if we're putting it in universe, of course, it has a reputation for being legendary, but compared to some of the other ships, I would honestly put it in reliable. I
Mhm.
think that it's a reliable ship because of its multifaceted. It's like the baseline of a ship,
Yes.
but it has
Yep.
some flaws. But yeah.
Yeah, I would argue that the name is the legendary aspect. The standard ship itself did a lot of crazy stuff, but let's be honest, when someone says, that's the thing, when someone says USS Enterprise, everyone's going to have a different vision of the ship. If it was just this ship, then yeah, it would be legendary, but the name is the legendary aspect to me. So I'm more yeah,
Okay.
I agree with you. It should go in reliable. Yes, more reliable than the Saber, of course, because it's USS Enterprise for God's sake. Um,
Right.
and actually, I want to. Yeah, you know what, Zach? Let's bring that up. I'm a little surprised you didn't mention Lieutenant Imres.
No comment. No comment.
I
No
mean,
comment.
okay, and for those who don't, actually, I've got. You know what? Here's a question. Hey, this is for both chats. Should I show what Lieutenant Imres looks like so we can, get Austin so we can if Austin's not going to give a comment, should I show what she looks like?
You can go. Hold on, let me see if I can find a picture.
I'll get one too. Yeah, yes, show.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
I think I know. Okay, I think some of you already Lieutenant Dan.
Yeah, Lieutenant Dan. No. Um hold on. I'm
Lieutenant
gonna
Dan.
pull up
There's a reason I did not bring her
hang
up.
on.
Oh,
I'm
but yeah, pull her up for both streams
yeah,
if
I
you
will.
could.
Hang on. Let's see. Yeah, there we go.
Either like, yeah, show that
Yeah, there
shit.
we go. There we go.
We don't talk about that, okay? I really am trying not to get in trouble. I'm not getting sent to the doghouse again. But yes, that's exactly what they look.
Yeah. Fun fact, by the way, she actually had a
My
thing.
wife.
Yeah. Fun fact, she had a thing for Scotty in the TV show.
Yes, that I remember, but
Why are
we
you
don't talk.
why are you horny bonking me? I'm not the guy.
Listen, I'm just here. I'm just here.
I need to
Our
let's
shifts.
see, hang on, exit full screen so I can get rid of this. There we go. So yes, now she is technically canon. Technically, all the- okay, yeah, she is technically canon, and yeah, people make the jokes about horny cat girl. That said, the thing is, if it wasn't for her being in the animated series, she was actually the first of a new race that was introduced to Star Trek.
Right.
So
That I remember. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I am a married man. I am married, but I can point out the fact that, yeah. Oh, and also I have to make this joke. Um, I'm sure some people are going to know about this joke. I mentioned Mr. Sulu because there's this comic where Spider-Man is talking to Doctor Doom, and he goes, warp speed, Mr. Spock. Sulu. Huh? Sulu set their speed. Like Doctor Doom corrects
That's
Spider-Man, and I'm like,
Yeah.
of course,
course.
Doctor Doom is a Star Trek nerd. Of course,
Yeah.
he
Right.
is.
He would be,
Yeah,
honestly.
of course he is. All right, and yes, you can. If it wasn't for Imres, we wouldn't have that cat doctor from Lower Decks, whatever her name is.
Mm-hmm.
Which I've seen a little bit of Lower Decks, and I love that cat doctor lady. She's hilarious.
How dare you insult my favorite show?
Dr. Tana. Thank you, Dr. Ta'ana. Yeah, but yeah, how dare you insult my Yeah, basically. All right, so my turn to pick.
Sure.
Let's see. You know what? Let's stay in Star Trek for a bit. Let's talk about the Defiant, USS Defiant. Um, so while I pull up a picture of this, so this ship goes by many names. It is most commonly known as USS Defiant, but its other name is Ben Sisko's Pimp Hand, because for those who don't know, Benjamin Sisko. Yeah, I knew it. I knew some people were gonna say Sisko's Pimp Hand. Yeah, so to explain, okay. So how much do you know about the Defiant? Real
I
quick.
know I know a decent amount if I
Okay,
recall.
So
Yeah.
the Defiant was the pet project of Benjamin Sisko. Sisko, who's the main leader of Deep Space Nine. Sisko was at the Battle of Wharf 359, where the Borg kind of blew up a ton of ships and everything. He survived, and afterwards basically decided that he was going to dedicate the rest of his life to killing the Borg. And so they made this. By all accounts, the USS Defiant is the first actual warship built by Starfleet, because Starfleet doesn't build warships.
That I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a warship. This is a warship. It does have shielding, and heavy ablative armor to absorb damage. It also has a cloaking device, which is super illegal. But Cisco stole one and basically added it on board. I believe the term people jokingly say is that it's a set of guns strapped to an engine, basically. and it basically has 4 pulse cannons along with proton torpedoes. Yeah, it's a tough little ship. Little. Yes, it is a small ship, but and that is true. Michael Skyline is correct. It is on par with the Sovereign class
Oh yeah,
Enterprise,
yeah. Oh my god,
which
dude,
should
this
say
thing.
something.
Well, if I remember correctly, the crew is even less than the Enterprise. I
Oh,
think it's what, like
yes. It's
50?
yeah, it's like 50 people. It is a warship. There are no creature comforts on board. All the living space is Spartan. It's a straight up warship. And it also, fought the Borg and tanked a lot of hits and was able to survive. And it should also be noted that that it's also the only ship, I think, in one of the only ships in Starfleet that basically made a planet completely uninhabitable at one point.
Yes, yes,
Um,
that I remember. I
yeah,
remembered that because I remember I was
yeah.
I
You
was in
betrayed your
school.
uniform.
Yeah, that shit made me crack up because I remember I was talking with someone about a while ago actually, and I was like, yeah, like literally, this is like if Starfleet was like, you know what, we really want to just take over the entire galaxy. They could literally like, it's just kind of crazy, like when they put their minds to it. How
Yeah,
like, oh, by the way, this shit is not like Enterprise where it's like not as maneuver. Like this thing can
it can
really
move.
fucking move.
It can
This
move.
shit can move,
Yeah.
bro.
So the thing about it, just to put this into perspective, Deep Space Nine, the massive space station orbiting Bajor in Star Trek. Now, Deep Space Nine can protect itself. It's got phaser arrays and proton torpedoes, but for such an important place, you would think that it would be constantly guarded. It is. That's the Defiant's home. They only need the Defiant. Defiant is that terrifying and that's powerful that they don't need a fleet to guard Deep Space Nine. They only need the Defiant. Now, with that said, the Defiant is not invincible. It can be overwhelmed and it can be beaten down. But even when it had its shields taken out, its weapons destroyed, and its life support offline, it still got hit a few more times by the Borg and survived and was salvageable. That's where that clip of "perhaps today is a good day to die. Prepare for ramming speed." That's what I'm describing. The murder hornet of Starfleet. Yeah,
It literally, it's what it is.
It is. However, enough glazing. We do have to. There is one problem with the Defiant. She's too powerful. The problem is when Defiant gets into long fights and starts just pumping all energy into weapons, she can overload her core and her power systems and actually cause a lot of issues. The weapons will turn off, the shields will be disabled, the engine will stop. It can literally shake itself apart if it goes into battle and starts blasting for too long. So that's why that's why, like, if you watch the show and everything, it fires like in short bursts with those quad phaser arrays. Because if they hold
Mhm.
down the trigger, it'll literally, like, the whole ship will shake itself apart. So now, again, this is one of those legendary ships from Star Trek. I'm willing to admit it. Or actually, well, no, I'd say it's more combat proven because it is a cool ship, but a lot of people don't really know about it. Now, how does it stack up against a lot of the other ships and that we've picked up? I think Defiant's gonna kill a lot of ships. I think Defiant's
Honestly,
gonna
I would argue,
yeah.
not to cut you off, I would argue it's more deadly than an R-wing. Like, I
Yeah,
think
it
that this thing
is.
is, I think an
Yeah.
R-wing would have trouble with this
Yeah.
shit. Like, this,
Mhm.
like, literally, I would argue it, like, the thing is, it is, yes, it's a warship and it has limited capabilities outside of being a warship. But when you're like, my thing is though, is look, if you are designed to be a warship and that it like your job is to kill, you're gonna do your job well. But like you said, those are the things is like it can overheat
Yeah.
and I think that's what would I look at the other ships in Legendary and I'm kind of thinking like, okay, if these get into a fight, can they last long enough before it overheats itself?
No,
but
they
but no,
can't.
they can't. They can't. So I
Yeah.
would argue that, and I don't want to overtake, but I want to hear what you have to say. I would put this in Legendary above an R-wing,
Yes, I
honestly.
agree. Now, and here's the thing. I just had this thought. New Star Fox game, the secret boss at the a new Star Fox game, secret boss is Defiant at the end of the game. You don't
This
fight
should have been Gorgon.
yeah,
This should have,
you don't fight the Defiant, you run from the Defiant. You don't fight,
yeah,
you run. Um
honestly.
Yeah. That said, though, like I think the other cool thing about the Defiant is also the fact that it is one of those ships where, like, it is like you said, if Starfleet wants a warship, they'll make a warship. The problem is that when they make a warship, it kills everything.
Right,
So
and that's kind of what I like again is that like I do understand that the mission of the Starfleet is not to just do that, but I kind of like that when they put their minds to it,
yeah,
they can make some
absolutely.
crazy shit.
All right, your turn.
Alrighty.
What you got?
Okay. Um, I think we should return to Star Fox, but we're gonna take a turn away from these types of ships. I want to go back to Starship, like Star
Sure.
Fighters. We're gonna do the first Wolfen.
Okay.
Now, not the Wolfen 2, we'll do
Yeah,
the
the wolf
Wolfen
one.
1.
Yeah.
So the thing is with the Wolfen 1, there are a couple things that obviously makes it a dangerous fighter, but of course there are some downsides. Number one, it is more powerful than an R-Wing when it comes to the overall capabilities of this thing. It has powerful laser cannons, high damage output. Basically, this thing is optimized to kill, right?
Hmm.
The other thing too is that now this is the thing is that, and I've noticed this depending on who you ask. Like if you do Event Horizon, it is a slower craft because it's slightly bigger than an R-Wing, I believe, by a little bit. Now the thing is that you could argue that it is on par with the R-Wing, right? Now here's the thing though, I would disagree with that. I think that the thing is the R-Wing is more versatile than a Wolfen, right?
Hmm.
Because the thing is that the Wolfen is meant to kill and not really do things long term, basically,
Hmm.
from what I remember. It's basically supposed to be you show up, do what you got to do, leave. We could see that we have not seen the Wolfen in situations with like the R Wing, like going to Solar, for example, right? Or going to well, we've seen it go to the Operate Homeworld and do what it did, but then again, the thing is that, like, I don't remember that version of the, I don't know if that's the next version of the Wolf, and unfortunately, that's escaping my
Yeah,
mind. Then
it
Assault.
is. It's the Wolfen Mark III. It is.
Thank you. Okay, I thought it was, and I was like, so that's why I'm talking about the first Wolfen. And I think that the other thing too is it doesn't have, to my understanding, it doesn't have smart bombs. It has some charge shots, but it's pretty like cut and dry what it is.
Hmm.
Yeah, and to Delta Zero's point, it is a hit and run fighter.
Yeah.
And that is, I mean, it does its job well, but then when it goes up against the R-Wing, Fox can solo all of them
Hmm.
basically, which again, you could be like, well,
Yeah.
Austin, that's basically the player's no, that's no, because you can clearly see when you're in combat, like all it takes is just a couple hits, even from standard lasers,
Yeah.
regular lasers. But yeah.
The thing about the Wolfen is that the Wolfen is, if we're going off how it should be, how it would be termed today, the R Wing is a multi-role system. It can do a little bit of everything,
Hmm.
and it can be changed to fit the situation. The Wolfen is a air superiority interceptor. It comes in,
Right.
basically slashes its way through everything, and then breaks off because it can't really stick around. Because let's think about it for a second. Think about how we encounter Star Wolf in almost all the games. They literally show up flying out of the sun, or flying with the sun to their backs, or they dive in on us to make an attack run. And fun fact, that's actually what you're supposed to do with these kind of ships. You come in, make a quick pass, and then you break off because these things are fast. Like they're fast. And what they're supposed to do is, have you ever heard the term boom and zoom?
Yes.
Okay, that's
Uh-huh.
what these are supposed to do. You're supposed to go in, slash your way in, and then zoom off. And imagine how much tougher it would be to fight Star Wolf if all of their
Actually,
attacks were slashing
oh,
attacks.
that's actually what they do. If you play Star Fox 2, that is exactly what they do in terms
Yeah.
of their formation. They fly towards you, they zoom off, and then they come back around.
Yep.
So even if you want to say that that is also a version of this, that is if you really don't know, that's the exact attack pattern they
Yeah.
take in that game.
Yeah. That's what they're supposed to do. Because see, um, this is where I get to be a nerd. So interceptors, which is what the Wolfen is, interceptors are maneuverable, fast, but they trade defensive ability. And basically they get a lot of firepower. They're they're pretty maneuverable when they need to be, but they're quick. But the thing is, they're not designed to fight other fighters. They're designed like they can if they have to, but interceptors are supposed to come in, slash their way in at full speed, and then use that speed to get altitude or like to break off and then come back in again, like they do in Star Fox 2. So the thing here is that think about it for a second. like I said, in Star Fox 2, Star Wolf is actually pretty scary because they keep using that slashing technique on you. But in the other games, they get into a dogfight. And the problem is that the Wolfen is not meant to dogfight.
Yes.
It can, but it really shouldn't be going up against the R-Wing, which basically looked at the level up system as like, I'm going to put all these points in maneuverability. And because think about it, what does Wolf say when you do a somersault on him?
He's like, what the fuck? No, he's like,
Yeah.
what the heck? Like,
Yeah,
or like,
because he's
something to
not,
that effect.
he's like, wait, how did you do that? How can you do that? Because his ship can't do that. Yeah, so now, that being said, one thing I do love about the Wolfen is I love the fact that rather than having the weapons mounted, internally, they're just like, nah, strap the guns on the outside. So, and you'll notice that they're lined up with the nose. So again, when these things come, when the Wolfens come in screaming, they basically just have to line up when they're coming in, fire, and then break away. So, which I imagine, like, I don't know who it was who said it earlier. The Wolfen's almost like the TIE Defender from Star Wars. It's this really expensive, really rare ship that you're only going to give to like ace pilots and everything. Because I think you'll agree with me. If Star Wolf was sent out to attack a Cornerian fleet, they're going to rip that fleet to shreds. They're going to rip it to shreds. But as we've seen in the games, Star Wolf, and you can chalk that up to some of the pilots not being up to snuff. Andrew, get the hell out of here. You shouldn't even be a pilot. But wait, actually, side note, that reminds me. I heard a rumor that confirmed this for me because you played the game. If you do the hard route in the new Star Fox game and you fight the Wolfen 2, is it true Andrew's in a neck brace?
Yes. So what you have to do?
The
So
hell
what
are
you
they letting him fly?
So they fix this. So they fix this. So what you have to do is you have to encounter Star Wolf on Ficina first, beat them, and then do the hard route.
Okay.
And he is wearing
He's wearing a neck
neck
brace.
brace. It's the funniest one out of the bunch.
They're letting him fly they really don't care if they're letting him fly with a neck brace. That's literally like being
Honestly.
like, yeah, no, we know your neck is probably in about 4 different pieces, but you need to fly anyway. So, but that said, I'm willing to put the Wolfen in combat proven.
I
Because,
agree.
yeah, for what it does and what it is good. It's just a shame it was going up against, the R-Wing, which is designed to be better than the Wolfen in the areas where the Wolfen is weak. So,
Exactly.
now, is it better than the Galactica, though? Because
I would say no.
Yeah,
I don't think so.
go ahead. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm just gonna be out front and honest. If Star Wolf attacks the Galactica, Galactica's blowing them the hell out of the sky. So
No, well, because we got to think there's only 4 Wolfens.
yeah,
And on top of that, we're talking about, are we just talking about the ship or like everything
no,
with the ship?
Because
we're
just
talking
the ship, not the Vipers, just the ship.
Oh, yeah, I think they're fucking mogging the goddamn Wolfens, dude. Like it's no match.
Yeah. So, but I agree. So, my turn.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Well, why not? Let's keep the train going. Let's talk about the Wolfen 2 because I got stuff to say.
Okay.
Here's the thing. For game purposes, yeah, the Wolfen 2, while I pull this, the Wolfen 2 is basically the tougher ship. It is. But God, this ship's ugly as hell. I'm sorry. This is a really bad design. I'm sorry. It is.
It is hella ugly.
It's
Oh my
hella
God.
ugly. And it's like they looked at the Wolfen and were like, okay, we need to fix the maneuverability problem and we need to make it more durable. What do? Why don't we give it more wing points? Like these more jagged edges, which, by the way, make your ship less maneuverable, moron. See, here's the thing. The silver parts, that's actually a good start. That's actually a good start right there. If they'd kept the silver parts and then maybe added like some more triangular, kind of like the normal Wolfen one, more triangular facing areas, I could see that. Because with those wide wings, they've kind of done what the R-Wing does. They've got wide wings for maneuverability. But this. Also, doesn't it have 2 engines? I vaguely recall it having 2 engines.
I believe, yes, it has 2.
Okay, that makes your ship even heavier, but sure, strap on 2 engines. Fat lot of good it did. I can humbly say shooting them down. I saw no difference in shooting them down on Venom 1 and Venom, like in Fachina or on Venom 2. I saw no difference. So maybe
Uh,
that's just me.
so I'm gonna first off, Tiger Claw. Thank you so much for the 25 stream streak. I greatly appreciate that. Also, by the way, for all the lurkers out there, I greatly appreciate if you're listening to this audio style. This is actually so. What makes me crack up is people. So there was a lore reason behind them wearing the gear.
Mhm.
But I had to go back and look to see if this is true, and I could be wrong. So the reason why they actually have to wear those particular like things, like those like you kind of see them wear like cybernetics, it's
Yeah.
shit like that, is because in order to manage with all, it's like super demanding to fly, and on top of that, um, what's the word I'm looking for? It's basically where was it? I had it in my notes. Oh, here it is. So it's so advanced, it demanded specialized targeting equipment
Hmm.
for its pilots because of how much shit is. Basically, they were like, listen, the Wolfen had a lot of weaponry. Fuck the maneuverability. Let's just try to make a fucking tank in space. That's literally what the Wolfen 2 was trying to do.
Yeah.
The other thing, too, is they can maneuver as well. Right, they can do
Mhm.
some somersaults and stuff like hey, try out our new ships. They also can not take damage from charge shots.
Yep.
But while it's a little bit more durable, it kind of suffers the same fate from the Wolfen as well. Like it's not as
Mhm.
maneuverable as an R-wing. The R-wing, even with the singular blaster, can still kill all four versions of it. And I think that's the problem.
Oh yeah, Delta
Is that
Zero
all?
did. Sorry, Delta Zero did say they have anti-lock capabilities too.
That's yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So my thing is that they can survive bomb explosions, but like my point is though is that it's still how do I want to word this? It still suffers the same issue with the Wolfen is that it's not as maneuverable as an R-wing.
Mhm.
So like yes, while it's armed to the teeth and it can take care of business, like it's like they finally perfected it with the Wolfen 3, but no, I would argue that while it is better than the Wolfen, it still suffers the same fate
Yeah.
as the yeah.
And I do agree with Tiger Claw in your chat that says you do have to admit the Wolfen 2 outshines the R-Wing in maneuverability. Your guys struggled to chase them. They just outmaneuver you all the time. Okay, fair. Counterpoint, the Star Fox team, by that point in the adventure, the Star Fox team had basically been fighting without rest for have been fighting this whole campaign. Wolf and his group just got these fighters and just got cybernetics installed. Yeah, no, I would imagine they're a bit more on top of their game than the Star Fox team is, but I would also play devil's advocate and say that's one of the reasons why it's still really easy to shoot them down. These are brand new ships. They haven't had time to get used to them. So, and
Right.
any pilot will sorry, I don't mean to I was
No,
going
no,
to
go
say
for it.
any pilot, I've talked to a few of them. Any pilot will tell you that you develop this kind of weird bond and with your plane or with your ship or just with your aircraft because you need to be able to pick up on every little thing about it. And by that point, Wolf and his team just got these ships. So they don't know the ins and outs of them. I guarantee you they weren't tested. Because don't in Star Fox 64 3D, don't they say that the Wolfen 2 is a prototype? I vaguely recall them saying they were
Um,
prototypes.
they just I don't know if they say prototype. I just know the try out our new ships, but the thing is to kind of give you your point. You only see the Wolfen 2s when you arrive there, but if you want to use the Fachina route, right? Let's say you encounter them on Fachina, you blow their fucking ships to smithereens, and you see them again on Venom 2 route, right? If we're really being honest, the campaign over a period of time is like a week. They make it clear like the campaign like because I think it's like because they have Lilat time in the new Star Fox game.
Yeah.
They have Lilat standard time. I want to say it's like a week. So if we really think about it, they probably were having these ships commissioned and never flew them yet
Yep.
until the very end.
Yep.
But yeah, you could tell by Pigma how he gushes over his new ship. Yeah, exactly. So sapient datable R-wing fine. But no, I do think that again, it suffers the same fate as the Wolfen. Is it better? Yeah. By metric, yeah. And yes, they can maneuver. I think I mentioned that.
Yeah, you did.
They can somersault, they can do those things. But I agree with you. Like if you have a new ship and you don't know what the hell it is and you've never flown it, of course you're gonna have some issues with it, not only for
Yeah.
you piloting it, but also for the Star Foxing. They're probably like, whoa, like we don't know how to handle this. Like, what
Yeah.
the hell?
Yeah,
So
they are maneuverable, but the problem is that it doesn't matter how cool your ship or your fighter is if your pilots don't know what it can do. They need to be able to like. There is a reason
Andrew.
why. Yeah, yes. I would argue Pigma. Well, maybe not Manulor. Pigma's been flying for a while, so I would make the counter. The point though that there is a reason why one of the running jokes in real life is fly it till it breaks because they want you to because every new aircraft or every new thing that's designed, be it a rifle, a gun, a weapon, or an aircraft, they say run it, fly it, drive it till it breaks because they want to know what it can take. But to Austin's point, if they just got these ships, they don't know what they can do. They literally were just thrown into them and said, "All right, use them." Okay, then they're just going to use them like they were using the normal Wolfens. They don't know any better. So, yeah,
Mhm.
for me, I would put it in the needs work category. It needs some like it is
Okay.
good, but I again, this is my opinion. I don't know what you think. What do you think?
Well, the thing is like the question is what does it do better than the Wolfen, right? That's kind of the barometer to this, right?
Yeah,
Because by all accounts, the Wolfen 2 is better than the Wolfen by literally every
but
metric
it
in
only
what you've
fought in
seen in the
one
game.
battle, so it's not
But
combat
that's the
proven.
right. And that's the thing though, is that we only see well, you can argue that we only see well, you could see the Wolfen's but then again, the Wolfens have been around a lot longer than the
Yeah.
Wolfen 2s. So I just think that I'm just trying to think because I'm comparing. I think for me, the thing that also kind of downs it to needs work is if I need to wear additional equipment
Mhm.
just for the thing to fly, that's a problem. I'm not talking about fucking life support. Obviously, no shit.
Yeah, no
But my
shit.
thing, but my thing is like if you tell me, Austin, if you want to fly this particular version of the R Wing in your AU, you need to have this setup like into your body in order for it to work. That's a problem
Yeah, we're gonna
because
yeah.
then yeah, sorry, my
No,
bad.
go ahead, continue.
Uh, I was just saying like that's where I think that because I was trying to debate, I think that's where it goes down
Yeah.
because
Here, Austin,
yeah,
we're gonna put this neural port in the back of your head, and you just plug
right,
yourself into this
exactly.
R-wing. Like,
Yeah,
so
exactly. Like you'll use your fucking use your telepathy to know where the enemies are at and shit like that. But yeah, I
oh
agree.
shit, you can
I
do that?
no,
I was
you
about to say.
guys can do that. You guys are getting paid, but I agree with you. I do think it needs
Mhm.
work. Absolutely.
And I agree with Austin on this one that if I have to actually have cybernetics installed for me to fly the thing, yeah, I think I'm good. However, let it be known that Wolf O'Donnell is better than everyone else on his group because he's the only guy on the team that says, yeah, no. Because your community pointed it out. He didn't have any cybernetics. He was flying
He do-
it straight up. So,
yes, and that's my thing is that like for Wolf, he's very much so an experienced pilot.
mhm,
I'm just saying for newbies, like if that's the case, then that's because to me, like yes, like we talked about how the R-Wing's difficult to fly. Yeah, but with the R-Wing, you don't need like cybernetics.
mhm,
Like, oh well, Austin, you technically need the visor. I'm like, well, no, because that's just an enhancement.
yeah.
Let me take a look here. Hold on, what did you say, Zach? Zach said something. It seems like Nintendo changed the lore about the Wolfen 2 pilots needing cybernetics since the Star Wolf team flies them they fly them unaltered and stuff. That is true.
Yeah.
So they must have changed that. So I kind of have to rewire my brain. So I
Mhm,
apologize about that. But I still think though, like, um, we gotta wait to see if we get more games.
yeah.
Because if we get more games, then I'll change that.
Yeah.
What's going on, Nitro? And yeah, and Slippy, thank you so much for the 25 stream streak. That's what I get for having a frog as my moderator. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, we'll have to revisit that down the road, and we
Yeah.
can always move the Wolf and Two up at any point. So
There was actually, if I can find it again, I'll show it to you. Someone actually did a comic that I thought was really cool. It's not canon because it kind of like ignores Star Fox 2 in a way, but it shows like the final clash between Fox and Wolf on Venom 2. And when Fox shoots down the Wolf and 2 during the explosion, that's what causes Wolf to lose his eye. And it's why he has that that weird
huh?
like cover over his right eye because he gets his eye damaged. in the explosion. And I'm like, okay, that's cool and everything, except, I mean, I'm pretty sure in Star Fox 2 he doesn't have that. So like,
No,
I get it, cool, but nah. I mean, he's a
I think he
pretty
has a scar.
yeah. I'm pretty sure he's also like Star Wolf. At the end of the day, are also mercenaries slash pirates. So it kind of fits his aesthetic to cover
Right.
one of his eyes
You are a
anyway.
pirate,
Yeah.
but yeah. Um, all right, I think it's my turn now.
Yes, it is.
You know what? I think I want to go back to Battlestar
Sure.
Galactica. Let's talk about the Viper.
Ah, yeah. Classic.
Now I want to say, I mean, I know there's the Mark II version of the Viper and
This is the Mark II
this is the
version.
Mark II. Yeah, so I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. I actually picked this one because it's a bit of a finer interceptor compared to the first one. The thing that I really love about the Viper is holy fuck, this thing is
It's
insanely
a
maneuverable.
beautiful,
Well,
it's a beautiful
by the
thing.
way, by the way, aesthetically pleasing. I
Yeah.
absolutely love the look of the
Yes.
Viper. It's one of my
Yes.
favorite looking starfighters of all time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fun fact. This is
Now,
sorry. I just let me say
go no,
this.
no, no,
Yeah,
go for it.
I was gonna say this is where Zaruk outs himself a bit. Back when I was rediscovering Star Fox, thanks to replaying
Mhm,
Assault at one point. This is when I had been watching Battlestar Galactica. I joked to
mhm.
myself, and I'm like, if I had to fly any kind of cool ship in Star Fox, give me a ship that looks like a Viper Mark II, and I'll be
Yeah.
happy.
Oh,
So
yeah, for sure, and I think is this the old school Battlestar Galactica or
no,
the
no,
reboot? The
no, the
reboot.
new one, the reboot.
We're doing I specifically did the reboot for the one Battlestar Galactica because there is some lore
Yeah.
behind that, but that's a whole 'nother thing. Um, it's very maneuverable. Like, the
Yes.
Viper is insanely maneuverable, and I think that the thing is that like, even in 0 gravity, this thing is amazing, like,
Hmm.
and I understand and it can excuse me, it could change orientation, not even having to use the main engines, if I remember
Yes,
correctly.
it
I
has,
could be wrong on yeah.
it has, it's got thrust vectoring, so it lets it do all the cool tricks in, zero
Yeah.
G.
Yeah, and the other thing too is it's insanely reliable. It's easy to keep upkeep, because there's many of them, right? Like, it's kinda like the ideal mainline fighter. Like, you want your fighter to have a ton of cool shit, be reliable, fast as hell. Also, the Mark
Sorry.
II, I think also you're good. The Mark II, I think also has the same thing like Battlestar Galactica in this version, where I think it's the older at that time the older version, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
because it's resistant to cyber attacks, so
Yep.
that's another thing that I really like. Now, for those that know what kind of weapons it has, I believe it's 3 nose-mounted kinetic cannons.
2. 2 nose
Or is it
mounted.
2?
2.
2. Okay, I thought it was 3, but the 2. Either way,
The Mark 7 has 3. These are the Mark 2, so
that's right.
they
Okay,
have
I was like, I
2
got it.
yeah, 2 cannons. Yep.
Um Has a high I mean, obviously, because we talk about Battlestar Galactica, in that universe, there is finite ammunition, and I think that this one has a high ammunition capacity. It's also, what I really like is that, again, it's, kinda like with the R-Wings, of course, with the Great Fox, of course, it has that, but I think the problem the thing is it doesn't have any shields, doesn't have any energy weapons, right? It isn't really designed for long range, kinda I don't wanna say it's like the Wolfen, but I really wanna say it's like the Saber, kinda, like, it's not used for long range combat, right?
Nope.
It's kinda like if I'm correct, like, you can
You
only
are
use
correct.
and it doesn't have an FTL drive. I mean, it's a small ass ship, I'm not expecting it not to have one, but compared to some of the other ships that we have talked about, some of them do have FTL capabilities, this one does not.
Yeah.
Um, I personally believe that, now what I think I grade this on a different scales, this one is mass produced
Yep.
compared to the other fighters. And I think that because it is mass produced, and also even with some of the negatives that I talked about, I still think it is, for all intents and purposes, I would argue that it's either very highly reliable or it's on the lower end of combat proven because of, for like, again, for a highly mass produced fighter, that's impressive,
Mhm.
like for what it can do.
So, um, going off what Austin said, yes. So it is armed with two autocannons and it can be fitted with missiles or bombs. It has hard points. It can fly both in atmosphere and in space. Um, However, yes, Austin's correct. This is not a long range ship. This is fleet defense. This is launched from the Galactica to counter enemy fighters, shoot down missiles, or attack other ships because they can some of them. Not I'm pretty sure actually no. The Vipers can't. The Raptors can. The Vipers can't. But they are capable of intercepting and destroying things like nuclear missiles. They're that fast,
Yes.
and their maneuverability is stupid with some of the stuff they can do. You just have to have a creative pilot, because if you've got a creative pilot, you can start doing things like, oh, I'm going to shut off my engines and do a full like rotation, 360 full rotation to get behind you. Or I'm going to do a thing where I cut my engines and do a backflip to get behind you. Yeah,
Mhm.
they can do that. Um, the other crazy thing about them is that they're all nuclear powered, by the way. They all have small nuclear reactors on board. That's how they're able to fly. Um, and let's see, they're also small. I don't know what the dimensions of an R wing are. So this thing is 27 and a half feet long, 15 and a
And
half
look.
feet wide, and it's about 9 feet tall. So it is a it's a snub fighter, basically.
I can look. The R-wing, I think, is I believe it's they use different measurements. I want to say God, they use space meters, but like they don't really direct to metric.
Yeah.
Um they basically say it's about the same size of like an F-16 from what
Hmm.
I understand.
Yeah.
So again, I because fuck space metric system. I don't know. I'm just here. But
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a pretty I would say it's about the same size of an
Yeah,
F-15.
and you wanna know the crazy thing is that if you didn't say if I didn't know it was a space superiority fighter, I would also think it was either like a stunt fighter or a race fighter or a racer because of the way it's
It does
designed.
look like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, they're beautiful fighters. They are, and don't forget they're also flown by ace pilots by this point. Like all the
Mhm.
pilots are aces basically. Um,
Mhm.
and let it be known that even if they've only got guns, they've taken on numbers like they've fought numbers where they're outnumbered 10-1 and are still managed and can still hold their own. So
Mhm.
I'm willing to put it in combat proven
Yep.
because yeah,
Yeah. Mhm.
right. So should we put it below the Galactica? Because it kind of needs the Galactica.
Yeah. 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 No, it's definitely yeah, and I would say that I would argue that if we're kind of graded versus the Wolfen, I would probably take the Vipers over the Wolfens
Hmm.
because of again because like my tiebreaker usually is the quality
Yeah.
versus the quantity, and
Hmm.
I feel like the fact that the quality of how much there is a quantity of the
Yeah.
Vipers
Yes.
is
Hey, quantity has a
impressive.
quantity has a quality all its own.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah. Okay. So
All
my
right.
turn.
Mhm.
Let me think. Um, okay, why not? Let's talk about this one. Um,
Hmm.
let's talk about the K-Wing for a minute.
Oh,
Um,
jeez.
okay, so do you know what this is? As a Star Wars fan, do you know what this is?
I've heard of the K-Wing. Oh my god. I'm trying to jog my memory. I wanna say fuck. It's pissing me off because I remember it. It's like the same thing with like the E-Wings and stuff like that. Like it's like there's those obscure ships. I'm trying to think. I wanna say um hold on, wait, let me look. Sorry, I want to look at it because I didn't see
Yeah,
it.
it's up. You can see
Is
it.
this a okay? What the fuck? I think
That's actually that
it,
was my first thing
it,
when
it
I
kind of
saw it for the first
kind of
time.
looks like the ship from the Clone Wars that the clones pilot.
The LAAT gunship,
Y-
or you mean the
well,
ARC
the
170
the
fighter?
Arc 175. Yes, it
Yeah.
looks like that, but like extra stuff.
So say hello to Star Wars version of the A10 Warthog, basically. This
Oh
is
yeah,
yeah.
that's right. I forgot
So
it's one of those.
yeah, um so when I joke and say this is Star Wars's version of the A10, I'm not joking. This was literally designed to be a bomber. If the B wing is designed, if the B wing was designed to to be able to fight to be able to fight capital ships and maybe square off with fighters if it needed to. The K Wing says, screw the fighter stuff. I'm going to make that Star Destroyer past tense because a squadron of K Wings. Okay, first of all, let me back up. The K Wing is basically it's basically what happens if a B-17 Flying Fortress and an A-10 Warthog have a one-night stand with each other, because it's got the ball turrets and everything like some, well, it's got the hanging ball turret like a B-17. It's It's got the top
Mhm.
ball turret like the original Y-wing model. Um, and then all of its wings and under its wings are hard points. And so and on the side, so you could fit whatever you want on it. And so, for example, you want to take out a Star Destroyer? Okay, well, let's load up with some ion. Let's make sure that the chin mounted ball turret is set to ion mode so we can fire ion cannons at it. And then we're just going to drop bombs and missiles all over that Star Destroyer until there's nothing left of it. Um, Literally, somebody just said, let's take a Y Wing, inject it full of steroids, and have it carry as many bombs as possible to blow something up. Um, yeah,
Right,
Delta.
I
Yeah,
remember
Delta
that,
Zero's right.
yeah.
This is how you properly overgun something. Um,
Right.
yeah. Now that said, I have to mention, as much as I love this and the absurdity of it all. First of all, this is what the Resistance should have been using in Episode 8, rather than that stupid ass like weird flying fortress thing.
I know what
This,
you're
yeah,
talking
this
about.
is what they should have been using. Um, so here's the thing about the K-Wing. There are some problems. First of all, they're big. These are big ships. And it requires, I think, a crew of like 5 or 6 people to fly it.
Mhm.
Granted, I'm pretty sure most of them are manning the weapons, but
Honestly.
regardless, though, it's a big ship. Looks like the bomber from Wing Commander. Yeah, it does. The problem is that, as I mentioned, it's a big ship. These things are like huge. Some of the, like, if I recall the things great, I think they're bigger than shuttles. You know that Lambda class shuttle from the movies? Like the
Oh,
famous
they're bigger than that. They're
yeah,
bigger
they're
than that,
big. Yeah,
yes.
they're bigger than that. Like these are big ships. So a squadron is usually only going to be like 3 of them because they're that big. Also, they can fly in space. They can, but they're not designed for that. They're designed for atmosphere combat, hence the turbine engines and everything. Now, granted, I will add to that by saying that if I was an Imperial remnant and I saw that flying at me, I would probably either put my hands up and surrender or make peace with whatever god I believed in, because I'm pretty sure I'm not going to survive one pass. Um, let me put it this way. If a normal X-Wing's lasers can blast through an AT-AT, which yes, they can, that's canon, this thing just makes the AT-AT go away, period. But again, they can be flown in space if need be. But the problem is that if I have to choose between using this or a B-wing for space combat, I'm taking the B-wing because the B-wing can actually maneuver in space. This, not really. I remember reading somewhere in some expanded universe stuff that you only launch these if you're attacking a disabled target or if there's no fighter cover, because these things are so slow and so lumbering that TIE fighters and TIE interceptors are going to rip them apart. So,
Right.
yeah. So, for what it is, the silly of it did last a long time. The fact that it could fly alongside a B Wing in the expanded universe says a lot. So I see it as a reliable ship at the bottom of the reliable, because again, it can't replace what it was built to fly alongside. But I'm curious as to what you think.
No, I agree. I mean, like, it's kinda like when we were talking about the other, what was it? The tiger. Yeah. We were
Yeah.
talking about, yeah. It's like that, but better, to where it's more like you could put this in combat and put it in situations where like it can help. I don't say hold its own, but you know what I mean. For what its purpose is, it does it better. Like when you overgun something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rely on your opinion here mainly because like um it's jogging my memory a bit. I know that these things are
Mhm.
holy shit. Like they're
Yeah.
they're insanely
Yeah.
overpowered.
They are.
But but
Yeah.
but the thing is again, if they're going up against anything else, they're
Mhm.
gonna fucking
Yeah.
die. Like,
Yeah. Hey, Lord Shadowhammer. So, how you doing? So it is now your turn. So what you got?
I'm gonna go. We're gonna kind of stay in the Star Wars realm, and I want to go more quicker because some of these ships will probably go through pretty quickly. The Tie Fighter.
All right.
We all know
The
we all
classic. Yeah, the
the
classic.
classic. We all know the Tie Fighter. Now, to be completely honest with you, yes, these things are they have outstanding maneuverability. They're very quick. They got nice weapons. They have the 2 laser cannons, and it has pretty much limitless energy from the reactor that it has.
And the
But
solar
it has
and the solar panels on the
and the solar
wings.
panels. Correct. So that's the great part about it.
The
That's
problem.
kind of where it all ends.
Yeah, I was about to say, but
Um,
that's where it ends.
so the well, okay, there technically is one other positive. You can build a shitload of these because they're cheap
Yes.
to make, and you can
Yes.
throw them at a bunch of enemies and try to swarm them. They're
Mhm.
basically like the bees. Like you're
Yeah.
basically a swarm of bees at the other ships to distract. But
Mhm.
here's the thing: if it gets on one, it's gonna get obliterated. It has no shields. There's no hyperdrive. It has very little armor. Um, it can only last so long on missions. It's
Oh
not
yeah, and
long range.
and don't forget there's no life support if it gets shot down.
They're like, yes, and there's no life support.
No
So,
eject.
and there's
No
no
eject
eject,
either.
nothing. This is literally like we are going to throw a shitload of fighters at you because they're cheap to make, and even if you shoot down like 100 of them, we got 1,000. Like you'll be fine.
And
Um,
what about the pilots? What part of Evil Empire
Fuck the
did you
pilots.
not hear the
Fuck the
first
pilots.
time?
That's
Yeah,
what
fuck the
literally
pilots.
it was literally Emperor Palpatine channeling his inner Michael Jordan, where he's like, fuck them kids." It was literally fuck them pilots.
Yeah.
Honestly, look, I'm going to be
Oh,
straight up with you. I don't like the TIE
I
fighter. I think
I
that
don't either.
I would scrap it. It is literally unflyable in any sense of any.
So so here's the thing. I wouldn't say so for its purpose, being the mass produced, being able to mass produce it, build them quickly, and from what I've heard, they're also easy to fly. That was the other thing. They were also easy to fly. So I don't know if it needs to be scrapped, but however, the fact that there were so many attempts to replace it, I think
That's what I'm
says
saying.
everything. So yeah, I'll compromise with you. I'll say we'll put it in scrap, but we'll put it at the top of the scrap section because it is like for what it was designed to do, it's great, but everyone was trying to replace it. Um, it's a fucking ball with wings. Yeah. Um, so,
Nitro, I saw you.
mhm.
What's up, bro?
so I think so. Yeah, I agree with everything Austin says. So I have nothing to add. But with that being the case, now I would like to talk about the what was it my little brother called this when we played Rogue Squadron together? Oh, right, the TIE Fighter's edgy cousin, the Interceptor. Okay, so
My beloved.
so the TIE Interceptor. So, for those who don't know, the Interceptor is basically what happens if you build a TIE fighter, give it more guns, make it faster, like a lot faster, and you give it to some of the best pilots in the Empire. You get the Interceptor. So, here are the good things. One, she's fast. She is a nimble and maneuverable little ball with wings. She can literally, they joke about it in Rogue Squadron, but it is true. It can fly circles around an X-Wing. Like it is a fast ship. And those 4 laser cannons can, like, in a good concentrated burst, will rip through through a rebellion, like an X-Wing, a Y-Wing. Like it'll rip through shields. And it does have the solar panels, so there's that. And surprise, surprise, this one actually has a life support system, a very weak and bare bones life support system, but it does have one. But like Austin said, that's where all the positives end because one, like before, no shields, no hyperdrive, um basic level life, life support, no ejection system, and oh yeah, one more thing. Um, this one actually killed its pilots because the Interceptor was so fast and so maneuverable that if you were not an ace pilot in one of these, you were probably going to get yourself killed before the rebellion got a hold of you because they were just so hard to control. That's why only aces were put in them. And also, let me put it this way. If you're flying a TIE Interceptor, then congrats, you've earned the right to fly one. If you're flying a red TIE Interceptor, meaning you are an ace, congratulations, somebody's gonna come and punch your ticket because you have just singled yourself out. Interceptors were, if I remember the comics and some of the old stuff about Star Wars, Interceptor pilots were a priority target in combat because they're like, oh, that guy's an ace, shoot him down. So,
Yes, of course. Let me just color code my most important squadron leaders. And
mhm,
what's kind of funny is speaking of Rogue Squadron 2, I remember playing it on stream. A funny little thing is all the TIEs fly in formation, but when you shoot the leader, they all
They
scatter, and it's
scatter.
like really,
Yeah.
it's so funny. Like I
Yeah.
said, they're like bees. But yeah, no, I agree. I think that well, I do believe the TIE Interceptor is a step up from the TIE Fighter. I definitely think that um, it definitely handles itself a lot better in combat. And in fact, and I think Slip even said it in chat, and I agree. This thing can shred, and I mean shred X-wings. Like
Yeah,
that's
it
literally what
can.
their purpose. But again, like this is the step up to the TIE fighter. Now, do I think that it can handle most combat situations? Well, no, it's what's its primary purpose? Its primary purpose is space
Interceptor.
superiority. Yeah,
Yeah.
intercept literally. It says it in the name. It's to intercept other fighters. I think it does that very well. But again, it has no shields compared to the other things, but I think it tries to make up for that with its insane maneuverability. I would say, um, I don't know. Like I would say that I and again, like when you talk about it being used for just reserved for certain individuals, right?
Hmm.
Um, I would put something's telling me like needs work or like low and reliable.
Yeah, I put it low and reliable because when it was in the
Yeah.
hands of someone who knew what they were doing, it was really
Oh yeah,
good.
and
Um,
that's kind of yeah.
Now I do want to address what Benlow how do you say it? Benlowo? Is that how you say that?
I just say
Benlowo?
Ben.
Yeah,
I
because Ben brought up a good point. What about the TIE Defender? It is not on here. I should have put it on here. I do want to mention the TIE Defender is basically exactly what the TIE Fighter should have been.
oh yeah.
Yeah, it is shielded. It is, it's shielded. It has life support. It has a hyperdrive, which is great. It has ion cannons and blast and laser blasters. So it's everything that a TIE Fighter needed to be. One problem, it's expensive, stupidly expensive, which is why in the expanded universe stuff before the dark times of the mouse, before Disney, TIE defenders were only given to squadron aces. We're talking like people who would command 25 or more fighters. They were only given to squadron aces. And even then, like TIE defenders, if interceptors could shred through an X-wing, TIE defenders look at exposed rebel flights and laugh maniacally because they realize they're going to be adding kill tallies to their wings. Because
Mhm.
TIE defenders would rip through fighters, and they could even fight light capital ships like corvettes and other stuff because they have the firepower for it. They were terrifying, but again, super expensive. So that's why they weren't mass produced. Speaking of expensive, while we're on the TIE, since we're on the TIE fighters, let's talk about Vader's personal fighter, the TIE
Yeah, we should
Advance.
do that while we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the TIE Advance is what happens when Vader gets to personally design his own fighter. The TIE Advance is Darth Vader's pet project, basically. It is
Mhm.
a ship made to his specifications with the available material and resources, to his specifications, to his ability. And because of that, this one ship with him in it was capable of fighting things which would be way out of anyone else's league. I mean, yeah, he's also a Sith, so that kind of that's cheating. But my point still stands. This is still, remember, people joked about it, but Anakin was the best damn pilot in the Republic. So no, this is Vader basically saying like, yeah, I want the ship built like this so I can basically kill everything I look at.
Mhm.
Remember, the only and so this includes, for example, high-powered laser cannons, shields. It did have shields, a hyperdrive. Did it? Yes, it did have a hyperdrive. It did have life support, shielding, and also freaking cluster missiles. Like, I know that's in Rogue Squadron, that's
Yes.
canon. There were like he could fire cluster missiles from this thing. Remember, at the end of the
Those
day,
things were so deadly,
yeah, but
dude. Oh
remember,
my
at the end of
god.
the day, Anakin Vader was a dogfighter. Anakin loved dogfights. So giving him a
Mhm.
bunch of multi missiles is basically like, I guarantee you, Vader was like, oh, I'm about to cheat and just asked for cluster
Yeah.
missiles. I'm about to cheat. The hold on, Michael is saying I have not watched or played Wing Commander, so I
I
don't know
haven't
what.
played yeah,
Yeah,
I haven't done Wing
yeah.
Commander, so I would have to, like
Mhm.
I could do that off stream. I would probably have to do some more research on that.
Mhm.
So,
So you
but
take
yeah,
it from here. I have to run to the restroom, but you tell
yeah,
everyone what you think about the TIE Advance. I'll be right back.
yeah. I think that the TIE Advanced is honestly like one of my favorite ships in the Imperial fleet. I completely understand that it's specifically made for Vader, but again, it has excellent speed, it has amazing maneuverability. It has, of course, shields, and it does have a hyperdrive in it. For those that don't know, that's the reason why Vader is able to, when the Death Star blows up in the Battle of Yavin, that's exactly why you're able to see what happened there and him, being still alive. um, it does also have fantastic weaponry, I will say. Is the Slave One on this? No, it is not, unfortunately. Yeah, we only had so many, and I don't know how long we were going to take to get through the list. Um, so the other thing too is that it is hella expensive. Very similar to the TIE Defender. It's a very expensive piece. Now again, there was only a handful made, but the other thing is that you
I'm
also
back.
kind of need you're good. You also kind of needed to know how to fly this thing, because number 1, it's very expensive, and also similar to the TIE Interceptor and even the TIE Defender, you needed to know what the fuck you were doing,
Yeah,
right?
with the
And
advance.
Yes,
Okay, yeah.
with the advance. I mean, me personally, I think if we're talking about it standalone, and if you were asking me where I put the TIE Defender as well, I honestly would put that shit in like high-end reliable or even combat proven. Those
Hmm.
things were fucking phenomenal. Like again, my thing is that if the purpose of your ship, even though it is expensive, if they are good on their own, you are combat proven. Like we talked
Yep.
about that with the Wolfen and the R-Wing, they're on their own. They're good. I personally would put the TIE Advance in combat proven. It is a fantastic fighter that can do many things that other TIE fighters
I
cannot
agree.
do. Now, speaking of which, the restroom, it is now my turn to
Go
go
ahead.
use the restroom. So when we get, well, I'll take a little break. If you want to do the next ship, I'll come back and I'll put my thoughts in there.
Sure. Go ahead.
By all means, I'll keep them entertained. I will be right back.
All right, all right, everybody. Let's while Austin steps away, let's shift galaxies for a second. Let's move away from Star Wars and move to a galaxy that I'm a bit more familiar with. Um, let's talk about something from Warhammer. This is a Thunderhawk gunship. For those who in my community who are Warhammer fans, you know about this. You also know its nickname, the Flying Brick. Um, so everybody. So this is the Thunderhawk gunship. It is a massive, massive ship. It is part for the Emperor. Yes. It is part dropship, part A10. It has an assortment of guns on it. Now, you might be thinking, wait, Zaruk, why is this included? This is not a starfighter or a starship. Well, it is and it isn't. Thunderhawks can fly in space for combat. They're technically supposed to be for deployment of troops and ground support, but they can fly in space combat. In fact, one of the things they normally do is they launch out and they smash into hulls of ships to deploy troops, that being space marines. So here's some of the cool things about the Thunderhawk. Again, built like a brick, so it can take a beating and keep on flying. It has heavy bolters up front to for support or for targeting other ships. It can be loaded with missiles, bombs. Those hard points on the wings, as you can see, have more heavy bolters on them on the sponsons. But they can even fit las cannon. So if you have to make a big ship go away or you want to burn a hole in something, you can do that. And finally, if that wasn't enough, if you can't shred the ship with bolt rounds, you can't burn through the ship or blow it apart with missiles and las cannons. That's what the big gun on top is for. Yeah, that'll solve the problem. Welcome back.
Okay. I am back. I heard Warhammer.
Yeah, we were talking about the Thunderhawk gunship.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Hey, one thing you need to know about me, I've been playing Warhammer since 5th edition. So, like, I don't play the tabletop anymore, but I've been a fan
Oh,
of
okay.
Warhammer for years. So,
Yeah, I know a couple of my friends are into Warhammer. It's not really my cup of tea for the most part, but like again, I do enjoy like the lore of it for sure.
mhm,
But I can't like get into the whole
yeah.
I love Space Marine too. I absolutely love that.
Mhm.
Um Let me take a yeah, because I'm not really familiar with the Thunderhawk. All I know is big ship.
Yeah. So, what's cool about it is that this one thing I forgot to mention is the Thunderhawk can be modified and changed to fit the mission parameter. And for naval mission, it has what's called naval intercept missions, where they'll launch
Hmm.
this. That sure, it can do boarding operations to dump space marines on ships, but for naval interception, it can fly out
Hmm.
and target, fighters or even like not fighters, maybe bigger capital ships if need be. And it will come
Yeah.
equipped with a Thunderhawk cannon, which is a thing on top, or it can mount a turbo laser destructor. But it's normally going to be the Thunderhawk cannon. It can mount las cannons on the wings, which are like the big anti-armor lasers. It'll have the heavy bolters, which are the heavy, like, heavy caliber guns in the front. And it can also carry guided bombs. So we can have both plasma and melta warhead. So if you want to incinerate someone or burn them to death, why not? But again, the main thing about it is that this thing takes a beating. That's why I made the joke back in the green room with the whole for a brick. He flew pretty good because this is the flying brick. This thing in lore has lost both of its wings and kept flying. It's had its entire tail ripped off and kept flying. It's had one of its wings with the engine on board torn off and continued to fly. This thing can literally survive God Emperor knows what gets thrown at it, and it can still survive. However, at the end of the day, it is a gunship. It is not a fighter. So it is not going to be squaring up against fighters or anything. And if it takes enough damage, it is going to go down. The main thing is, though, you just don't want it getting on your ship, because if it crashes on board your ship,
Can it survive a boot to the head?
everyone on board there is a space marine, and it can carry, I think, like, how many people can it carry? Like, pretty sure it's like, trying to remember, the lore is inconsistent, but I'm trying to remember, like, how many can it carry? Um, oh, 30. Okay,
That's great.
that's 30 space like, no, it's 6 or 7. No, no, no. A
Shut
thunder
up, Slippy.
Yeah.
I'm
Um,
trying to.
yeah, so a Thunderhawk, there are different versions of them, but the most common Thunderhawk can carry anywhere, it says, between 15 to 30 space marines. So,
Jesus, Lord of above.
yeah.
But
Turn
yeah,
yeah, turn one big problem into 30
different.
more problems. Yeah.
Right? Jesus. Okay, I think I'll go. Now, I want us to go back to the Star Wars universe because I know Slippy was really looking forward to this one, and
Yeah.
I agree. Listen, what you think the TIE Interceptor can do, the A-Wing can definitely do better.
Real quick,
Okay.
I'm gonna put this in the needs work category. Well, actually, no, I'm gonna put it in
Oh,
reliable
sorry.
only because it's a
My bad.
flying brick. That's it. That's all. That's
Yes.
the only reason it's in there. But yeah, let's talk about the A wing.
So I love the A-Wing. Like, aesthetically, it is a fantastic ship. I think that for what it is, like, I love the X-Wing, of course, as my favorite ship in all of Star Wars, except for maybe the Millennium Falcon. But the A-Wing, I really like as well. What's interesting about this is this does have a hyperdrive. It does
Mhm.
have shields and armor. It has fantastic weaponry with the 2 laser
Wait,
cannons,
wait, wait.
and it has concussion.
It has shields. I thought it didn't have shields. It was just
I
fat.
thought it did.
I remember them saying that. Oh no, you're right. It has shields, but it has very weak armor. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has shields. It has about the same amount of armor as the TIE fighters, but still it has shields, right?
Hmm.
Um, Holy shit, this thing is fast. Like, they said
Yeah.
that the Millennium Falcon's the fastest ship in the fleet. Well, per Han Solo, that is not true. The A-Wing is the fastest ship in the fleet.
Hmm.
It has fantastic acceleration. You need to literally be an ace pilot to fly this thing
Yep.
because you need to understand how to maneuver. You need to understand all of the things about this
Hmm.
ship because if not, you can hit the side of a fucking wall and you can die.
Yep.
The other thing so the one thing I will say, it is very difficult to fly, which you can look at it as a drawback in terms of, like, but again, it is specialized to be an interceptor type fighter. And on top of that, like, it doesn't have a large payload of weaponry. But again, when you're telling this thing to either do reconnaissance or intercept fighters, this is literally what cancels out the TIE interceptor.
Yep. It is.
I literally would argue that if I do think that for the type of ship it is and it in the Rebel fleet, I honestly think that I don't know. Like, I think that this is it's definitely combat proven. I definitely think it
Hmm.
is because it literally takes what the TIE Interceptor does, but does it better. Um, but the thing that's preventing me from putting it into legendary is that, I mean, It's just the weaponry, I think. The weaponry is what's throwing me off, and
Yeah.
it can only take so many hits, but that maneuverability is so damn good.
Yeah. So this is where I will agree with that. It should be combat proven. One thing I don't know if you know this. I'm pretty sure Slippy knows this. So you know what they were originally designed for, right? Before they were turned into fighters, you know what they were, right?
What was it again? I don't
Stunt
recall.
fighters. They're stunt ships.
That's yes,
Yeah,
that's
they're
right.
for stunt
Yeah,
flying. They're for
yeah.
stunt flyers, and they were modified to be fighters. So it is true they have light weaponry. However, they do have those blasters can shoot down any fighter that the Empire can field out. Remember, they're designed to shoot down fighters, not capital ships. And they do have concussion missiles, which are really good against enemy fighters. However, I would be a fool not to point out that an A-wing pilot
Did this
did take down the
the
executor.
executor.
So,
And
yeah.
that's hard to do with how fast that thing is going,
Yeah.
especially when now to my understanding, because like the angle that they use in the movie is kind of like he's like he purposely do that? Like I know that
It
sounds
is
stupid, but like
confirmed in canon that he was shot down and he purposefully suicided the A-wing into the
okay,
bridge. Yep.
that's what I thought. Like I know he gets shot, and that's where I was like, but you know that's kind of to my point how difficult that is to do, especially with how fast it was going and how small, relatively speaking, how small the bridge is on the Executor to hit it right on the nose and
Mhm.
take the whole thing down is a testament to how like expert of a pilot you need to be, even if you're
Yeah.
risking your own life.
Yeah, I would
Um,
also,
yeah,
I didn't know that. Sorry, I wanted to add this thing, I didn't
sure.
Zach's right. I forgot the blasters can rotate 360
Yes,
degrees.
that's right, I completely forgot about that too. I'm like, I'm pretty sure they can do something else, and I'm
Yeah.
forgetting.
So that's really cool. If you're being chased, you could just be like, "Haha, no, you," and just turn the blasters around and shoot somebody. That's really cool. But I agree with you. This should definitely be in combat proven. The fact that it was still around flying, not only in the expanded universe, but also in the current canon, yeah, no, this is a combat proven design. So,
Would
do
it be
you think it's better than Vader's TIE Advanced and the Wolfen?
shit? I would I would say it's better better than the Wolfen because of the hyperdrive and just how maneuverable it is.
Mhm.
Um, I would I mean, I would argue it could be better than the Viper, but then again, the Viper is mass produced, so that's kind of where I'm
A-wings
like,
were
all
mass
right.
produced too.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, well, on the I'm trying to think. Yeah, like yeah, no, I would argue that it's better than a Viper,
yeah, it
honestly.
is. I'll
Battle
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think then like kind of stops about it because that like I'm just like that Battlestar Galactica is like my like litmus test
Yeah.
for other things.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, my turn?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, let's see. Well, let's stay in Star Wars for a bit. Let's talk about if we're gonna since we're talking about since we're talking about things that the A-Wings have destroyed. I know it's not the exact model, but let's talk about Star Destroyers for a second.
Yes, let's talk about Star Destroyers. Like,
Okay,
yes.
so this actually might this might hurt our friendship. I honestly think the Star Destroyers are actually kind of lame. Because okay, pause.
They're the Dorito ships.
Yeah, they
Yeah, like
are. But the thing is, for being something that's supposed to be like the fist of the empire, supposed to be wherever it shows up, it strikes fear into everyone it sees, everything. And yes, I know it's basically a battle carrier because it can launch fighters and everything. It it really doesn't have a lot of firepower. It's got like what, 8 turbo lasers and like 8 ion turrets. That's it. I was expecting way more guns, but it really doesn't have that. Yeah, they are extremely undergunned for what
no,
they're
I
supposed to
agree. Like
do.
you would be surprised. Like I love the Star Destroyers and how iconic they are, but like no, I agree with you. Like I do believe they are undergunned. And not only that, the thing is like even against starfighters, like they're very easy to
Mhm.
defeat, relatively speaking. I would say not to cut you off, but I apologize. I
No, go
think the
ahead.
one thing that I really like about them is that they are, to your point, to carry out the Emperor's duty of basically being the Iron Fist for the Empire. Like go like when they're sent to Tatooine, like even with there I think there was two in orbit, but of course you had the one that we see chase the Tantive 4. Um I think that the other thing is they can bombard from the planet, bombard from
Yeah,
space. That's
they
a nice
can.
little thing. But the thing is like there's so many of them, and I think that's
Yeah.
where this is where mass production ruins what you're trying to do, if that
Mhm.
makes any sense.
Yeah.
I think the thing is there were so many made, they're undergunned for
The
what they're
Star
supposed to
Destroyers
be,
are
but
basically
I
armoring
do
M1
believe
Abrams with only the
that the
coaxial
idea
machine
was
gun.
if we have so many of these big ships, we can cover as much space as possible.
Yeah.
I think that is what they were going for. But
Mhm.
I think these were supposed to be the successor to the Venator
Venators.
class
Yeah, to
ship,
the Venator
the
class.
Venators.
Yes.
And I honestly think even the Venators, like I love those more than these because
Yeah.
like again, the Star Destroyers are supposed to be the next version of that. But
Yeah. So
also you can take out the shield generators too.
yeah.
I'm sorry. Now I'm going on
Oh
a
no, I was gonna
whole
no.
nerd
It's
rant.
funny you. It's funny you bring that up. No, same brain cell because I was about to say. And if anyone's wondering where the weak spots are, kick it in those two balls up there
The two balls at the top, and the one below it
and the
too.
one
The one
below.
below.
But yeah, kick the two balls up top and kick the ball below, the one ball below, and then you can blow up the bridge, like or just rip the
Yeah.
ship apart. Also, they are extremely vulnerable to ion tech. Like ion torpedoes will short the shields and basically make it a joke. And again, these things are like that's what really confuses me about this design is like Tarkin, this is the Tarkin doctrine, the idea that you use
Right.
powerful weapons and fear to keep control. Okay, Tarkin, cool idea. One problem, where are the guns? Because yes, they are capable of doing orbital bombardments. We have seen in Rebels and in Bad Batch that it only takes one or two Star Destroyers to make an entire planet think twice about doing anything with a, what are they called? Alpha Delta Zero or
Yeah.
something where they like orbitally glass a planet. But the thing is, if they don't have like I was about to say, you could argue, oh well, they've got their starfighter complement. You mean the bombers and the fighters with no shields that get blown up really easily? Yeah, how threatening. The thing is about these things is that they need support. That's the main thing. A star destroyer cannot fight on its own. It needs other ships with it. And that kind of defeats the purpose of having one star destroyer in a system to maintain control when you need other ships to protect it. Because remember,
Right.
it has barely any point defense. And as we've seen, starfighters can X Wings, Y Wings, anything can basically take it out. And B Wings, oh God, B Wings eat these for breakfast. That's literally what they were designed for.
Right.
Admiral Akbar literally woke up one morning, chose violence, sat down at his desk and said, I'm going to make a starfighter that's designed to fuck over every star destroyer it sees. And so,
Yeah, exactly. And Ben said Star Destroyers were basically built to look scary and to be big
yep.
garrisons meant for subjugation of planets. They weren't meant for space battles with similar size ships like the Venator. Yeah, I agree. And
Mhm.
Slippy also mentioned, I think in canon, the ISDs were made to look for intimidating with how huge they were, but the orbital bombardment. But this was because the Empire wasn't expecting a rebellion that can fight even in air and control the space in orbital bombardment. The moment you combat, exactly. And I agree. I think the thing is, like, if it's literally like, hey, there are 3 weak points before you can take on the shield, and the thing is, when you blow up the shield, the thing fucking nosedives.
Yep.
Like, that's horrible. And even as a capital ship, like when I'm playing Empire at War, right?
Mhm.
Obviously, I love having the Star Destroyers.
You're based as fuck for playing that. Good on you. But go
Yes,
ahead.
I fucking love Empire at War, specifically Forces of Corruption, and even modding it from time to
Mhm.
time. The thing that I like what that game does versus this is fucking crazy. I'm even saying this because the fact that the game makes them look more intimidating than the fucking actual in canon shit is bizarre. Um, what I like is like in the in Republic at War, if you get that mod and you do the mod where you go from like Order 66 to the Empire and you can start getting the newer versions from the Ventiners to the actual Star Destroyers, they make the Star Destroyers fucking tanks, bro. Those
Yeah.
things are actually properly like you can holy shit, like it's like these are a lot to take down. The fact that the game does a better portrayal of it because like they want to make it at least
Yeah.
somewhat fun. But that's my problem. Me personally, I think that Star Destroyers they need work. They
Mhm.
need
They
work,
do.
bro. They need work.
And here's the crazy thing is that, and if someone's
Margo.
about to say, and if someone's about to say, oh, well, but they're good at what they do. Here's the thing, though. Yes, maybe the Empire wasn't expecting the rebellion to be as dangerous as they were. That's why modifications and upgrades exist. So they
Right.
literally could have any point, and don't tell me they couldn't have, because the Kuat drive yards 3D print Star Destroyers like it's going out of style. So no, at any point, someone in the Empire could have said, like Thrawn, for example, could have said, "Excuse me, these either need to have more guns so we can slug it out with rebel capital ships, but since we don't have many of those, then put a bunch of AA guns on it or lasers on it and stop them from getting blown up. They're expensive." So,
Exactly.
yeah, no, they definitely need work.
Oh
Um,
yeah, for sure. And Umbardo, thank you so much for the 25 stream streak. I greatly appreciate that.
all right, so I believe it's your turn to pick.
My turn.
Hmm.
You know what? I want to go back to Star Fox. I think one more time.
Sure.
I want to. Oh my god! Now, I'm so sick of the fucking Star Destroyers. I want to talk about something that is even better than a Star. Fuck it, like that can mog them. The fucking Great Fox.
Yep.
I love the Great Fox.
Yep.
Listen. Take my
Hey,
love for
pop
Star
off.
Fox.
Pop off. Go for it,
Listen,
bud.
I think that this has to be now. I understand that it has the two front cannons. I understand that it's literally an assault carrier, right? There's only so much it can do. Completely understandable, right? Here's my thing. For what it is, the fact that it only takes like what 4 or 5 fucking people to man this goddamn thing, even
Hmm.
if you want to say more. And the thing is, those two twin cannons, holy shit, man.
Yeah.
It is literally the best for all intents and purposes. I'm not saying like the best ever, but for what you are getting out of it, and you don't need hundreds of people to run this thing, the fact that it can do what it do without like with the same amount of people you would need in a fucking K-wing is bizarre to me.
Yep.
Honestly. And I think we see how now again, the version I picked was at its peak, which
Hmm.
was the assault version.
Yep.
Not only does this thing, oh my god, like not only can that cannon like obliterate anything, like it has the capability of launching the R-Wings and other StarCraft out of it, but mainly the R-Wings, of course. It can be used in atmosphere as well. It can also, be used to deploy. You can also go in the water, too. Like, you can
The
use to
water.
deploy submarines
Yeah,
and
I know
stuff.
what you mean. Yeah.
Sorry, it's my accent.
No,
My bad.
no, I get what you mean though. You're right. It's aquatic capable.
Yeah, but the thing is like it just blows my mind. And also, like I believe even it has the gate capabilities. Like
Yes,
you
it
can argue
does.
FTL capability. It has the Zypher gate capabilities, which is fantastic because now this thing can go anywhere basically. And
Yeah, I'm sorry. It can summon its personal
it's personal murder
personal
squad.
murder squad.
But because here's my thing though. But my thing is that the fact that it has legendary fighters in it,
Hmm.
right? And the fact that it can literally, if this thing, and also has shields, if this thing was to go on, like it would literally blow up a Star Destroyer, like right there. Like
Yes,
it would like blow
absolutely.
it, like it would blow the bridge off. I think I think not only is it iconic, I do think that this is like, I just love everything about it. It's tough for its size. It has advanced AI in Rob 64. Not only because this is the cool thing, Rob literally it's one unit that controls the whole
Yep.
fucking ship,
Hmm.
which makes it so much easier and more efficient for the crew to operate.
Yep.
It can refuel fighters. You can repair R-wings there, resupply the pilot. Like literally, I would say the biggest cons of this is that it has limited fighter capacity.
Hmm.
And I would say that it's not built for full-on fleet battles, all seriousness, though, because literally the only weaponry it has is the two cannons. But if you're using it in certain instances, like one-on-one, it's great. I honestly think that at worst, it's combat proven. I would argue it's
Yeah.
legendary, but that's just my inner fan
No,
talking.
I
But yeah,
agree. No, I agree with you.
yeah.
And I'm also going to give it a bit of an edge because I personally like my version. The version of the Great Fox I think of is the one from Event Horizon, where it actually has the deployable anti-air weapons to defend
That,
itself. I
yeah.
know it's not canon, but I don't. But to quote Nick Fury, I recognize the council's made a decision, but given that it's a stupid ass decision, I've elected to ignore it. So fuck the canon. having the Great Fox have automated like laser AA systems that it can deploy to defend itself and others is a genius idea. I fuck with it. So, no, I like it, but I do agree with you. The one problem is that it has limited capacity for fighters. So, which, to be fair, I've always interpreted it as like my thought process has always been okay, well, if, because we see like an assault, like, that all the R wings are loaded into like the lift lock system and then
Yes.
they launch out. My thought process is like it could probably take more fighters, but it can only launch 4 at a time. Like it has to like reload, like, the lock system has to pick up another one and then launch it out, basically.
Yeah,
So,
and I agree with
yeah.
Slippy saying, like, the thing is like, I wanted to kinda start with canon, but if we are like, literally, if we are including Event Horizon, it fixes all the problems that I have with the ship,
Yeah.
and
So,
that's it.
yeah. So
And
I'm with, yeah.
the Legendary, the
Yeah.
thing?
Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. I'm willing to is it better than the Falcon though?
I think, honestly, I would the Falcon with for its size and how it c I wanna say yes, but, like, my thing is with the Falcon, it's very
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
multi-purpose.
I mean, we can put it there, but I think you'll agree with
No,
me
I
and
think it's
yeah,
better. I think it's better,
yeah.
actually, now that I think about it, yeah.
Yeah, okay. But I think you'll agree with me that it ain't beating the Defiant. So,
No, 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 it's gonna get fucking murdered by that thing,
yeah.
like, I don't think we have anything so
I was about to say if you were going to defend it and say, "Well, it might." I was going to tell you,
No.
Austin, it got blown up by Meta Knight's airship in Brawl. So like we
Technically not canon, we
I
do not
know,
count
I
that.
know, I know, I
It's
know.
just
Um fun fact, have you seen Star Fox 64 turret mode before? Where you
Jesus Christ, yes,
Oh,
that is
you
amazing. I
you know about it.
fucking
Okay,
love it.
cool. All right, my turn. Speaking of ships that can go aquatic, I want to talk since it's my turn to pick. Can we talk about Uchu Senkan Yamato?
I
Huh?
fucking love that. I
Yeah.
love Battleship Yamato. Oh my
Yeah.
god,
So
bro.
ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between, this is Space Battleship Yamato. This is what happens when the Japanese decide, yeah, we want to make our own space opera. Why don't we make it about that, about the biggest battleship ever built that we built? Now, first of all, I have to say, firstly, this is a beautiful ship. It really is.
Oh, it's
It
gorgeous.
is a gorgeous ship. It really is. The fact that you can make a modern, like a World War II ship and retrofit it to make it look sci-fi like this is just so cool to me. It has that 80s, late, 80s, like mid to late 80s sci-fi setup to it. While also keeping that, that military World War II aesthetic. Um,
Mhm.
you know, it's armed to the teeth. Like it's got, just to give you guys an idea. So first off, 9 18.1-inch shot cannons for the main guns. Those shot cannons can blow up like can blow up asteroids, giant projectiles, like planet busting projectiles, and other ships. And it can fire both energy and kinetic shells. I love that. That they can still
Yeah,
fire.
that's
They can
crazy.
fire the 18.1-inch shells. Um, it has a battery of laser-based anti-air systems around it to protect itself. It has VLS launch systems, so like that thing behind the bridge is a launch tube for interceptor missiles. It has It has atomic torpedo tubes because of course it does. It is capable of going to aquatic. It can fly both in atmosphere, in orbit, and sail on the water because of course it can. It can go underwater, like no joke. The ship can rotate.
Oh, yes, I'm aware.
Yeah, that thing on the bottom is actually the backup bridge. It can rotate into like a submarine design. Um, and it is FTL capable. It is capable of doing brief FTL jumps. It can't go long distances, just jumps. It launches aircraft through a rotating cylinder system, unlike Galactica, where the planes fire out of the launch hangars. Here,
Mhm.
they drop out of they just drop into the air or into space and then launch. Um, and then finally, I have to address it. I'm not counting it because it's very situational. The wave motion gun. Um, so the wave motion gun mounted in the prow is literally the equivalent of the literal equivalent of fuck everything in that general direction because and this is the standard like the Mark 1 wave motion gun. It is so powerful that it is capable of destroying the entire something the size, like they compared it. It is capable of vaporizing the entire continent of Australia with one shot. That's how powerful it is.
That's fucking crazy. Oh, by the way, Splatoon Gal, does this include non-Star Fox ships? Oh yeah, there was a
we've got
bunch
ton,
on
yeah,
here.
yeah. So now, of course, the ship does have to divert all power to the wave motion gun. So the guns turn off, the everything powers down, and it does take time to charge up. I think it takes like 30 seconds to a minute to charge.
Mhm.
However, I mean, for the ability to destroy something the size of Australia, and mind you, I said that's the Mark 1 wave motion gun. The modern version of it, like the souped up version, it can fire 6 times. Like, so it can literally fire, rotate slightly, fire again, and just keep firing these. Remember, each one destroys Australia, basically. And at one point, I love this. I love anime. At one point, they blew up a sun with it. They literally fired it into a star and caused the star to go nova, and it took out an entire fleet as the star went nova.
Jesus Christ.
And what's even funnier about it, this is actually like some Looney Tunes shit. I love that they do this. In the anime, they mentioned that they have to use gravity tethers to hold the ship in place while they fire this thing. But at one point, they're like, hey, we need to get out of here. Fire the wave motion gun without the gravity tethers. So when they fire it, they go in the opposite direction. It's so, yeah, to be blunt, like to be totally blunt, and then I'll stop so you can talk. This ship fucks, and I love that she is a beautiful lady, and the best thing about her is that in the show and in the movies, she gets the shit kicked out of her. She does. She gets beat up, blown up, torn apart, and she keeps coming back saying, "I didn't hear no bell." Which again, I would love to captain this ship. But what
Mhm.
about you?
I mean, honestly, this ship is like one of my favorite of all time. I think that it is without a doubt a legendary ship. I think the question is, does it beat the Defiant?
No, it
Which
doesn't.
it,
It does
as
not. It does not.
it wouldn't, but I do think it's a legendary ship. There is
Mhm.
so much versatility that this ship has. There's so much firepower. It has really the only flaws that I could think about is it's a bigger ship and maybe the
Mm.
wave motion gun maybe when like because it does take time. Doesn't it take time to charge it too? Like
Yes. Takes
yeah.
about 30 seconds to a minute to charge. Yep.
Yeah, so it can leave the ship vulnerable when it's preparing to fire. I mean, but that's pretty much it. Like, I try to look for the cons in some of these ships, and that's kind of where like it determines like combat proven versus like literally if the biggest concern is you're a big target and the only thing that can really make you an even bigger target is when you're firing your most powerful weapon, or like that's a
Yeah.
legendary
She
ship right
also
there.
has
I would argue
she also has shields. I forgot to
shields,
mention she
yeah.
does have shields. Now, I do agree it would give Defiant a run for her money because Defiant is one ship and the Yamato is a ship with an entire fighter complement. But if we're talking one-on-one, well, the main thing is that let me put it this way. Yamato can square up with Defiant for a bit until the wave motion shields are overloaded, and then when they go down, Defiant's going to start cutting through that hull like a hot knife through butter. But
Mhm.
but if one of those shock cannon shots hits the Defiant, it's going through the shields and probably going through the ship too. So, but again, you've got to
Yeah.
hit it, which is very hard to do. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, yes, I agree.
It's like the second best ship on this, like,
Yeah, it
honestly,
is.
it's not even close.
Um, God, I would love to see a pic. I would love to see a picture of Space Battleship Yamato with its fighter complement flying alongside the Great Fox and the R-Wings. That would be cool.
That would be so fucking cool. I
I
mean,
mean,
dude, that would be, like,
yeah,
near
and
unstoppable.
remember the Yamato's also kind of like a diplomatic ship. They don't pick fights. So as long as you're like, "Hey, we're actually, we're here to help," then the Yamato's going to be like, "I bet. Do you want 50 additional fighters? We can help with that." Just
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just imagining like this is so dumb. My imagination is just imagining this showing up and being like, "Oh, that planet over there, like the planet at the edge of the Lilat system, that's where your bad guy is. Okay, just show us where his lab is, and we'll wipe it off the face of the planet with the wave motion
Andros is
gun.
like literally like dead.
Yeah, yeah, dead on a rubber.
Okay,
Yeah, your
I'm gonna
turn.
move to one of my favorite franchises of all time. Even though most of these are Mass Effect, I want to talk about Sovereign.
All right.
Okay,
Okay.
now I want to be very clear. Sovereign is not every Reaper in the fleet. This is a specific version
Hmm.
of the Reapers. It's one of their dreadnought classes. Now it's not look. This thing is not just like any ship. This is a sentient being that is a literal warship that can do many things. It is about, I want to say, 2 kilometers long
Hmm.
or 1.3 in freedom units, which is 1.3 miles. Um, it is literally,
That is a
des-
reaper. Yeah. I'm just
it's
reading the chat. Sorry.
it is a reaper. Literally, it earned that name exactly, and that's like okay for the type of firepower this thing has. It has a magnohydrodynamic mass accelerator cannon. It is extremely deadly. It can destroy cruisers in a few shots, heavily damage or destroy dreadnoughts, like big ships in the Mass Effect universe. Um, it is nearly impenetrable. Like it can shrug off sustained fleet bombardment. Literally, it requires concentrated fire from many dreadnoughts or capital ships to even like try to bring it down. This is where it gets scary for those that haven't played Mass Effect. Did you know that this thing, unlike other warships on this list, this thing can repair itself? It
Yeah.
doesn't, by the way, it doesn't need a crew. It does this shit by itself. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, it has now the other thing too is obviously it is powered by an artificial intelligence. You know, we know how if you've known how the Reapers operate, they are not your standard, species, of course. Um, now you want to know what's even scary about this, Zaruk, and you probably know where I'm going with this. Indoctrination.
Yep.
This is what makes this ship arguably legendary in and of its own. It can emit. So for those that don't know what indoctrination is from the Mass Effect universe, it's basically signals that slowly corrupt the minds of organic beings. Basically, they become loyal servants without realizing that they're becoming basic zombies and slaves to this thing. And it can even so basically, it doesn't even have to fire a shot, and it can take over entire civilizations. It can mind control. That's literally what it is. And by the way, doesn't need supply ships, doesn't need a large crew, doesn't need escorts. This thing can do all this shit by itself. And
Hmm.
it has FTL, by the way. FTL, it doesn't need the warp gates that you see in Mass Effect. None of that. Now you could say, well, it's on its own. That kind of sucks. Yeah. There's only a handful. I mean, no shit. And it's a huge target. And that's a big thing because it's a literally a mile wide, a mile long target. Now the thing is that it's very reliant on shields. Like once those kinetic shields come down, you can destroy it if you have enough firepower on it. But all things considered, this thing is deadly as hell.
Hmm.
Like it literally can beat you in many ways. And even using indoctrination, it can defeat the enemies that are attacking it if it can have the chance to do so. It even take down enemies before they even get to you,
Hmm.
right? If it can do that. In some instances, it's kind of like, indoctrination can be, if I remember from Mass Effect, like sometimes it's like, other times it's like holy shit. But
Yeah.
like, it's a legendary. It's a
Absolutely.
like I would argue like now the question is like I would say that maybe the Defiant would give it well with how it is in universe. You can argue that it could be the best one there,
Yeah.
but would Spaceship Yamato probably take it down?
So
Maybe.
I would
Yeah,
argue,
that's kind
yeah,
of where I need
yeah,
some
I
help
would
with that.
argue that if Space Battleship Yamato was able to get a wave motion gun shot off, wave motion cannon shot off on Sovereign, do I think it would destroy him? Probably not. But damn, if it wouldn't brutally wound him. Like
Mhm.
it would mess him up enough that he would not be able to, like, it would take God like weeks or months for him to patch himself back together after that. Like it would like it if it didn't outright kill him. However, the main thing is that if I recall correctly, because it's been so long since I played Mass Effect, if I recall, Sovereign is also extremely intelligent. If I recall correctly.
He's extremely intelligent, and
Mhm.
and Delta Zero brings up a great point as well as a couple other. Yeah, you can. By the way, you can be indoctrinated even when Sovereign is dead, and on top of that, you need to have immense willpower to avoid
Yeah,
indoctrination.
and that's the thing here is that Sovereign is smart enough to probably realize, oh, that ship can kill me. I should probably do something about that.
And
So
that's what
yeah,
makes him so scary. And that's why I would argue that he is a very dangerous, like, he's definitely legendary, and why I could argue he could be the best one because he's so intelligent to understand the threats around
I
him.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And you might be saying, "Oh, well, Austin, like the Defiant would rip it to shreds," but you also got to remember, Sovereign is not just a crew of individuals that require. No, he can think for himself.
Yep.
And yeah, yeah. Oh, don't forget to keep in mind what they were made and what they are to do. And that's the other thing that I add into
Yeah.
that. Like Reapers are meant to kill entire civilizations,
Yep.
the entire galaxy full of civilization.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, the Defiant has enough firepower to take down pretty much anything, but Sovereign can give it a run for its money in a
Yeah.
battle.
I would also
Yeah.
argue that even if Sovereign realized that the Defiant was cutting through his shields and then his armor, then his thing is not going to be, I need to kill this. It's going to be, hang on a minute. That little ship is really useful. You work for me now. And he would literally just take over everyone and start indoctrinate them and literally turn the Defiant against everyone else.
He's old.
So,
He's
so,
old.
yeah.
But no, yeah, that's why I think Sovereign. I wanted to put him on here because it's like, yeah, it's basically made and supposed to hit the factory reset on all organic beings and tech. Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of where I wanted Sovereign on here because he's like the ultimate like barometer test to how scary he is. So, does the Defiant resist indoctrination? No, because the crew
No.
would have to resist indoctrination.
Yeah, and the crew are human beings or aliens, and we have seen that it does not matter what you are. Within very rare exceptions, everyone's vulnerable to indoctrination. So yeah, it would not matter.
Mhm.
Um, so that yeah, I agree. He is the most terrifying thing on here.
Harbinger? I think Harbinger is even scarier than
Yeah,
Sovereign, but,
yeah,
like, and he like, Harbinger would mog everybody, like,
yeah.
it wouldn't even be close,
Hmm.
but that's why I was like, "Let me put Sovereign because I put Harbinger, like, instantly, but, let's go on.
All right.
It takes months, but that's the thing, though. I'm sorry, I wanna bring this up. I understand it takes months, though, but, like, the thing is, like, even if he gets into a fight, he would still not, you know, he could still retreat. Like that's the thing is Sovereign is extremely intelligent. Like probably the out of all of the pilots or all the people that you could amass on all of these starships, he's probably the most intelligent being.
Yeah,
Um,
and remember, sorry, I just want to jump in. Remember, the Reapers are playing the long game. They're not. They can wait a little bit longer. So
Mhm.
um, so yeah, I agree with you though.
Yeah,
Okay, my turn.
go for it. Go for it.
Okay, well, why don't let's jump back to Star Wars real quick. And let's talk about your favorite. Let's talk about the X-wing.
Yee.
And you know what? Because it's your favorite, do you want to start just for this one? I
No,
don't mind.
yeah,
Or
I can
go
start.
for
I
it.
mean, if you want. Yeah, look, the TCOM the TCOM 65 X-Wing starfighter. I fucking love this shit. Like this is my favorite starfighter of all time aside from the R-Wing, of course. Um it is again like many of the other ships we've talked about that are in legendary tier, timeless. This thing's around even in the New Republic era. This thing it is the barometer or the gold standard for an all-around performance space fighter, right?
Mhm.
Um, it has the 4 cannons on the S foils, proton torpedoes. The deflector shields are extremely strong. It has a hyperdrive. It also includes an astromech droid that can be put in the top part right behind the pilot, so it could do flight repairs. It can calculate hyperspace jumps, power distribution, targeting and navigation. Like it literally is an AI built into it that can repair the ship as well. The thing is the X-wing can do it all: reconnaissance, escort missions, dogfight, anti-capital ships. It literally is. I'm gonna say till the cows come home. It is the perfect all-around fighter. Right now, the thing is, it's not the fastest. It's not the bulkiest.
Yep.
It's not. It literally like you take the cons. Like it's the jack of all trades, master of none. Right.
Mhm.
In certain instances. Um, of course, it is a larger target than some of the other ships in the Star Wars universe, like the A-wing, for example. Um, but that's, I think it's even bigger than an R. Yeah, it's bigger than an R-wing.
Yeah.
Um, it is, but they are. Here's the thing. Me saying all that, they are high maintenance, very high maintenance. Like you have to deal with the hyperdrive, the shields, the astromech integration, and all the other things. Right? It's a very advanced ship. Oh, well, Austin, all the ships in the Star Wars universe are advanced. No, I understand that, but I think the thing is that you don't need to be an ace pilot to fly this thing. But I think what hurts it is that it doesn't really. It's cool looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is cool looking. That's why it's the X-wing. It is an icon of a legendary fighter, but um, I don't know, man. Like I personally think it does deserve legendary recognition, but I think the question is it master or it being a jack of all trades type of fighter, does that put it in? And I'll carry it off to you.
Yep.
How do you think about that?
Well, how do I feel about it? Well, let's see. How does this go? All right. The Incom T-65 X-Wing is the fighter that killed the Death Star. An almost perfect balance of speed, maneuverability, and defensive shields make this the perfect fighter of choice for Rogue Squadron, except when the mission profile disallows it. In addition to 4 blaster cannons, the X-Wing can carry a number of proton torpedoes. It's powered by 4 Fusible thrust engines and requires an onboard astromech droid for peak performance. Shout out to the original Rogue Squadron.
Love that. That is literally the most iconic. Like if your ship has a narration that is that like literally aura right there,
Yeah.
like it's awesome. It's already
Yep.
legendary.
Yep. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. So I would say it's better than the Falcon, but I don't think it's better than the Great Fox and the R-Wing. So
I think the thing is that with because the R-wings don't have a hyperdrive on them,
well,
they
that's
can't
true,
do.
actually.
I would
Hmm.
argue the X-wing's better than an
Yeah.
R-wing,
Yeah.
honestly, because the X-wing can do FTL,
Yeah,
the R-wing
that's
cannot.
true.
But I will say that if an R-wing and an X-wing met in combat, I would probably
Yeah.
lean more with the
But it's not,
R-wing.
yeah, but it's going to be one R-Wing against probably 20 or 30 X-Wings. So,
Yeah.
also that is true. I love Zach pointed out that yes, the X-Wing was going to be given to the Empire, and then the Incom scientists were like, "Lol, no," and stole everything and gave it to the rebellion. Don't ask what happened to the
Man,
scientists who did that though. They
we
they
don't.
well, you played Empire War. You know what happens to them.
Wait, yeah, yes, I'm aware.
Yeah, you know what happens to them.
I fucking love that campaign,
Mhm.
by the way. I love how it fills all the stuff in. But yeah, I mean the X-wing's perfect. You don't even have to go further than
Yeah.
that.
So what about so what would you
You
like
want
to
to
see
tell them
next?
why? Delta Zero asked why, but it's the Empire, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Um,
So do you want to tell them or should I?
no, you could don't. You could.
Okay, so the reason they didn't do it was there were 2 reasons. If you're thinking like, "Oh, it's because they believed in the rebellion." No, that is not
No.
why. No, it's because the Empire tried to lowball the Incom scientists. The scientists were basically like, "Hey, so we basically took the concept behind the Z95, made it way cooler with this X-wing. It's got all this kind of stuff. It's got a hyperdrive. It's got, shields and all that kind of stuff, and it can be launched from a carrier or it can be stationed on planets. It'd be great for the Empire." And the Empire were like, "Okay, well, we want to pay you like a quarter of what you're asking because you should be grateful we're even taking that. We're offering that because your ship's going to be really expensive to make. Well, so why should we do that when we have the TIE fighters and everything?" And so the Income scientists were like, "Well then, fuck you and fuck the Empire. We'll just take the prototypes we made and we'll give them to the rebellion," which they did. And the scientists who did that were then captured and were going to be taken to Kessel. For those who don't know, Kessel is where they mine spice in
Mhm.
Star Wars. But the spice mines of Kessel are literally like a death prison. Going to Kessel is a death sentence. So they were literally taking these nerds and were going to dump them off on a mining prison to die. Yeah, black
Yeah,
bagged, exactly.
yeah, exactly.
But
Ex-
there's
Mhm.
good news. As Austin and I can both confirm, they were rescued by the Rebel Alliance.
Yes,
Uh,
I believe it was. Where was it at? I know. What's the planet? It was on
it was on Kessel. Remember Captain Antilles swooped in with
That's
the
right.
yeah.
That they when you go to that's right, because they were on the Imperial shuttles and you
Yep.
take yep. Because I remember, there were prototypes that you find it was, oh, not Wayland, it was the other
Frasier. Frasier.
Frasier. It was Frasier, you get the prototypes, and then you find this rescue the scientists, you can get more of them. So it's
Yep.
like, this is great.
Mhm.
Awesome. Alright, let's continue.
All right.
I actually wanna
Go
shift
ahead.
to a completely
Yeah, go for it.
different universe. Babylon 5 and the
Star
Star
Fury.
Fury. Um, these are
These are weird.
these are weird ships, okay? Because they're like, "Mom, can we have X-wings? We got X-wings at home." Yes, because that's the only thing is they look like fucking X's. That's all. Some cool things about them. Okay, so the first thing is that they have amazing maneuverability in space. They can actually rotate 360 degrees while continuing in a completely other direction. They can strafe sideways. They can fly back. They can do all that.
Yep.
Okay. They can instantly, that's the cool part about them, right? Now, they're very great dog fighters because of this type of maneuverability, right? NASA wanted to turn them to space forklifts IRL. I mean, fuck it. I wouldn't mind. I like Babylon
Can
5.
you
Um,
wait? I am forklift and Star Fury certified.
yeah, can you imagine? Now I can the other thing is it looks very rugged.
It does.
It's pretty simple, it's nothing crazy. It does have 4 pulse cannons mounted on the engine pods. I don't know if you could see it from the image, but it does. And there are missiles on certain configurations of the Star Furies. Now, the other thing that I really like about it, even for its size, it has easy maintenance, by the way, and it does have a stable weapons platform. Okay, that's one of the things too, is because the 4 engine layout is like stationary and more specifically, like it's where it's how it's made, right? It's stable, right? You don't got to
Mhm.
worry about your weapons going anywhere. Like, oh no, like if it's pretty simple, right?
Mhm.
Here's your problem. There's no shields on these things. There's no FTL capability. Oh yeah, fuel, by the way. Fuel is a concern.
Wait, how are they fueled? What do they
Um, I,
use
I
for
I
fuel?
I gotta look again. I know that I can look. Hold on. Starfleet. They have limited fuel. Let me look. Where was it? What was it? I believe I gotta look at my Babylon 5 wiki page that fuck me. I want to say it was just like, where's it at? I'm looking at my list here. Um, I forget, but I know they talk about like it's limited fuel. Uh, I think it's I think it's just standard. Am I wrong? I could be wrong. Um, I'll have to look at it
I
later.
guess a
I'm
better
trying to
question
look
is
through my
how
notes.
how mu- how long can they fly?
Uh, Probably like as long, like I would say, like on the same tier as like the Sabers or the TIE Interceptors. Like they can do
Mm,
those types of missions. I could be wrong, but they're mainly, but like there's a couple other things that would knock it down a peg. Um, the other thing too is it has minimal atmospheric capability. I'm not
yeah.
sure if you know this, but the Star Fury is made specifically for space combat. Now
Mhm.
later variants of it do address this, of course, but we're talking about this particular
Yeah.
version. It isn't really hard to fly. Um, Literally any competent pilot can fly it. Um, but honestly, it's a very fun fighter, but like,
Mhm. Isn't it also
but
really fragile, if I recall?
yes, it's very fragile because it has no shield and also like the way it's built, it's pretty
Yeah.
fragile. So I would say it can be reliable,
Mhm.
but like very low tier reliable. Like I could argue that it might need some
Yeah.
work in the lab, but
I can see that. For what it does, yeah, I can agree with that. Low tier reliable. Okay. So, my turn. Um,
mhm.
let's stick in the let's, stay in our, stay talking about our fighters real quick. Let's talk about Admiral Akbar's pet project, the
Yes,
B-wing
I
real
fucking
quick.
love it.
So you heard me make the joke already, but I'll make it again before I let Austin take over because I've said my piece already. The B Wing is what happened when Admiral Akbar woke up one morning, chose violence, and decided, I'm going to make a starfighter designed to blow up every fucking Star Destroyer I see. And hence the B Wing, armed with 3 heavy blaster cannons, freaking ion cannon in the nose, proton torpedo launcher. This thing looks at Imperial capital ships and says, I'm going to eat that. And then proceeds to kill it, like with no hesitation, proceeds to
Right.
kill it. And yes, it does have a gyro cockpit. The cockpit's up at the top, and when it closes its wings, it like the cockpit rotates while everything closes. Which is why only ace pilots can fly B wings, because turns out that gyro cockpit throws a lot of people off and can get people killed.
I
And
mean, it
in,
did me.
yeah, and in
Rogue
one
Punch.
yeah, and in one incident, I recall reading, it actually during the gyro process, it actually crushed one of the pilots.
Yes,
Yeah,
that is
so
scary.
yeah. So yeah, this is for aces only, but I mean, but the power, like the power you get. So here's the thing: for those who don't know, when you fly this in Rogue Squadron 2, if you're going up against a capital ship, here's a quick tip for you: as someone who literally speed ran that level to do this, ion cannon shot at the shield generator. Fire 3 proton torpedoes into it. That takes down 1. Repeat the process with a second ball shield on the top, then fly down below, pump another ion cannon shot into the bottom shield generator, and just shoot it until it blows up, and then the level's over. Boom. That's it.
Yeah, it is insane how this ship is. It not only does it have a wide variety of firepower from the lasers, the ion cannons. Like to me, like this is the optimal version of the Y. Well, I know the Y wing has other capabilities, but that's a whole nother thing. We'll
Yeah.
get to that in just a second. But again, it is very deadly to capital ships, and on top of that, it has fantastic shields. Like that's another thing that I think a lot of people might not realize with how, even though the ship looks wonky as hell,
Mhm.
um it has amazing deflector shields.
Yeah.
It is actually very, very impressive how many hits this thing can take for a fighter, that is. And the other thing too is it does have a hyperdrive, so it does have FTL capabilities. It is slow. It does have a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass to move around, I would
Yeah.
say. And to Zaruk's point, and you need to be an ace pilot to fly this thing. It is
Yeah.
a complex machine to fly, but it's again, this thing packs one hell of a punch, and I
Yep.
think that that's what I love about the one thing that I fucking hated flying this thing in Rogue Squadron because the thing's goofy as hell,
Yeah,
but
but
it is very powerful. It
yeah.
is very powerful.
Yeah, goofy ship and very slow, but I mean, if if I could solo a Star Destroyer, I mean, that's a fair trade.
Yeah,
Um,
I would say. What would you say it goes in?
I would
I'm
say it's
curious.
combat proven because it is like it does its job really well, for what it
I
is.
agree.
So I'm it's not better than the TIE Advance, because remember, this is an anti-capital ship fighter. It is not designed to dogfight. So it does its
Hmm.
job really well, but it's not gonna be like it's not gonna be squaring off against anything else in this list. Now, do I think the B-Wing's gonna beat down the Galactica? No, absolutely
Oh
not.
fuck no.
No, Galactica's gonna frag that B-Wing before it gets close.
Uh,
But again, remember, for those who don't know, remember the prototype of the B-Wing had a giant beam laser that could cut through ships. That we now know that thanks to Rebels. And apparently they were like, yeah, that's a bit too much. Let's just put big laser cannons on it instead, rather than the giant beam weapon. Um, okay, so your turn. We're getting down to the last few. So what do you
Yeah,
got?
we're doing good on time too. I was hoping like, okay, when we get to this part. Okay, so I actually want to talk about the Normandy
All
from
right.
Mass Effect.
Yeah. The
I
Normandy.
love the
Yeah,
Normandy.
it is
It it
it is a cool ship.
it looks aesthetically pleasing, but
Mhm.
also now again, I'm talking about now again, the Normandy in its final phase is one hell of a ship. Like it is got man, not only can this thing like stealth
I
base.
love the chat.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna be like legendary. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll get there. We'll get there. Just hold on. Hold your horses.
Yeah, hold your
It
horses.
does. So it does have interesting
Hold your
stealth
rations,
technology.
Delta.
Yeah,
Hold your
right,
rations.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. The big thing is that there are many ways that it can stealth. Not only can it do advanced heat sinks to basically prevent it from being seen through infrared, it can also manage its emissions and also there's like certain material I think it's made out of as well. There is a cannon on. I think it's the what the fuck's it called? I think it's a Thanix cannon. Like it's basically like they um they reverse engineered Reaper tech, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong on this,
Yeah.
but I remember the thorax cannon or the therex cannon. I don't remember. They can do a lot of damage. That thing
Hmm.
can do a lot of fucking damage, dude. That thing can threaten cruisers, even damage larger warships. It's very powerful, to say the least.
Hmm.
And not only that, the type this ship for how big it is insanely maneuverable. Like it's very fast. It can do rapid insertion and exfil very, very effectively. It is just oh my god, like it's just all around amazing. And then it's just if you want to do like special forces shit, this is the ship for you. And of course, you have Edie, who remembers Edie, the advanced AI.
And
You know, we
Joker.
love her, and
And Joker.
Joker too. I mean, I love Edie too, but that's besides the point. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, to an extent. But Edie can kind of do what Rob does for the Great Fox as well, like control the systems on the ship, analyze threats that are coming in, assist in combat, all that shit. So basically, she does what Rob does to make things
Hmm.
simpler for those that don't know. Um, the other thing too is that the Normandy is very flexible in what it can do, kind of like the Enterprise. It has a medic bay, it has armory, like all that shit, right? It has a bunch of stuff. Now the thing is that of course it's not no shit. It's kind of like the Millennium Falcon. It's not built for full on fleet warfare, right?
Yeah.
And the crew is relatively small, but that's I feel like again, for the type of ship it is, I think that it's a plus, kind of like how I talked about how the Great Fox is legendary because it has Rob to do all of the features. That's what makes it great. But I will say that like for how elite that crew is, kind of like on the
Yes.
same level of like the
I was hoping
USSS
you.
Prime
I was
Enterprise.
hoping you were going to say
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's to me, it's like what the Enterprise I really wish was, right? Like I
Hmm.
really wish it, and it also, of course, it doesn't have the strongest defenses, but it has enough to take care of things. I would argue it is better than the Millennium Falcon. I would argue with its versatility and how fast it can be. You can maybe argue it's better than the Great Fox. Um, but it's an amazing ship. It
Yeah.
is without a doubt one of the best ships in video sci-fi
Yes,
video game
I
history,
agree.
without a
It
doubt.
is a it the Normandy is just I agree with everything Austin says. No notes. I would but I will reinforce that the Normandy is just a sexy ship. It
Oh,
really is. She
it's
is
it's
yeah, she is a beautiful ship. And I don't know who I saw someone say it in the chat, but I agree with what they said. The Normandy is home. That's the thing. It's home. And it feels like home. And even though the ship's not on here, I should have added the Spirit of Fire to this list. I should have.
I thought
Yeah.
about sending it to you,
Yeah.
but I was like, I don't know how many we're gonna have, but if
Yeah.
it were me, it would also be legendary.
Yeah.
The Spirit of Fire would be a
Because
legendary ship for
mhm.
the same reasons a
Yeah,
Normandy.
and
Yeah.
as Captain Cutter put it best, where you see one old ship, I see home. And that is always worth fighting for. And that's how I feel about the Normandy. The crew and everyone on it, I was like, this is home. This is family. You can have
Mhm.
this ship and the people on it when you pry them from my cold, dead hands. So,
Yeah.
or you can have them from me when you pry me off of the really shitty ending of Mass Effect 3. So, but regardless, I agree. It's a and don't one more thing. Don't forget the Normandy was a joint project. It's
It
humanity and
was. Yep.
Turian working together. So, I mean, if that's what humanity and Turian and sorry, yeah, it's Turian, right? That's the
Yeah, the
yeah,
Turians,
yeah.
yeah.
If that's what combined tech could do in a joint project for a small ship, man, I want to see a warship now. I want to see a big warship.
And I
But
think
yeah,
that's the last thing I'll say, because I think that's our last ship for Mass Effect, I believe. The
yeah.
one thing I will say I love about that universe is again, you know, I just love how it has like this galactic
Oh
community,
yeah.
and I love how I think that's what I love about Mass Effect. For those that don't have not played it, I've played all of them. I love Mass Effect. 3 kind of pissed me off, but that's a whole nother thing.
Hmm.
But even with 3, like the way everybody interacts with one another, the fact that each civilization has their own quirks and stuff like that, and the point of the Normandy, like the fact that if you take humans and Turians, put them together, and this is what they can make, just imagine what like they can do with
Yeah.
other shit. So like, and that's
Yeah,
crazy.
and I agree with Slippy. We have to give special mention to Joker because no one else could fly the Normandy
Oh,
like he
that's
can. Yeah.
that is exactly why I put that shit in legendary, mentioning the crew. Joker
Yeah.
the things that he can do with the Normandy, no other human
Oh
being
yeah.
could.
And
Like,
also it has one of my favorite he has one of my favorite interactions in video game history. Him and Garrus swapping jokes with each other. Okay, what does a
yes.
Turian do when he runs out of ammunition? He uses the stick up his ass as a backup weapon. Come on, everyone's heard of
Yeah,
that one. He goes, he goes, why does the Alliance hire pilots with brittle bone disease? What? What are you talking about? You say, there's a joke about me? Yeah, heard it from some recruit on Palaven. Okay, why does the Alliance hire pilots with brittle bones disease? So their Marines can beat someone in hand-to-hand drills. Just
I fucking love
yeah,
I
I
love
love that. I love the crew. I can
they're
say like the
all
crew is
amazing.
great. And if you're like my a friend of mine who did a femshep playthrough, if you hook up with Garrus, if you romance Garrus' femshep, if you do the DLC, where you get to go to like that private
Oh
like
yeah!
house and
Yes,
everything,
yes, yes.
Garrus becoming the overprotective boyfriend is the most adorable
I
thing.
love Garrus
Yeah,
so much,
he
dude.
really is really good.
He literally is the only out of all the cast, the only male I would
Yeah.
still romance. Like, he's the only
Absolutely.
one.
Yeah. What's the There's a, they wouldn't give me a mirror. How bad is it? Well, hell, Garrus, you were always ugly. Now it's just an easier way to confirm it. Oh no! Don't make me laugh. Ouch. It's like, some women find facial scars attractive. Mind you, most of those women are Krogan. So
Microfilament Shepherd.
yeah, it's microfilament shepherd. It's just or my favorite line, I'm Garrus Vicarian, and this is my favorite
My
spot on the
favorite store.
Citadel. It's just
I fucking
um
love that.
yeah,
Alright, let's keep going.
yeah.
Let's keep
All
going.
right, so
Your turn.
my turn. Okay. I want to jump back real quick. I want to see let's a palate cleanser. I want to talk about the original Cosmo Tiger real quick.
This
So
is all you.
yeah,
So I
so okay.
don't yeah.
So the Cosmo Tiger so y'all have seen the special version. This is the standard version. This is the Cosmo Tiger. First of all, beautiful ship. It is. This is from Space Battleship Yamato again. Beautiful ship. First of all, it is. It's a beautiful ship. Now these are to basically give you an idea. Uh, like Austin said, these are basically your F-15s and F-16s. These are launched from the Yamato to do air-to-air combat and to basically do standoff engagement, where they fire their weapons to engage capital ships or stuff like that. They can dogfight, but their primary role is to basically go out and blow shit up. They have 8, yes, 8 nose-mounted cannons. And then aside from that, it's whatever other weapons they want to slap on there. You want air-to-air missiles? You got it. You want a nuclear tipped weapon? You got that too. They can do whatever you need them to do. They can fly in both atmosphere and in space. And the crew and the pilots, here's where it gets kind of silly. The pilots there's 2 fighter squadrons on the Yamato. There's the Tiger Squadron and the Zero Squadron. If Zero Squadron are the elites flying the Cosmo Zeros, then the Cosmo Tigers are flown by everyone else, and those guys are like you can actually see them to the right, that upper picture on the right side just above my head. They are where do I even start? They're basically they're all a hoot. They are like these guys will come back from a mission in the anime and in the movies, and if they've gotten a kill, they literally get to take shots. They literally
Mhm.
take shots for their kills. They are just and they're all like they're all again, they're all very masterful pilots. And what's cool about it is that at least to me, is that it's also a really realistic starfighter. It looks like a modern fighter plane that was just put into space, and I dig that. It just looks really cool. Fun fact: it's actually it's partially inspired by an American made and Japanese flown real life fighter plane. I believe it's the F5 Tiger 2 is I believe what it's
Okay.
called. So yeah.
Now that's what's up.
Hmm.
Yeah, wherever you want to put it, I have
Yeah.
nothing to say because I don't
Yeah.
recall much of this
Yeah,
particular
yeah.
one.
Want a railgun? Shit, why not? Yeah, you can have a railgun if you want on these things, but their primary job is just to go out and blow stuff up. And they're pretty good at that, as you can imagine.
Mhm.
So with that, I'm gonna put it in I'm gonna keep it where it is at the bottom of reliable because They do get blown up. Not all the time, but again, they do get blown up. They're not invincible. So it's your turn.
Okay, I think we're gonna go to Halo for a little bit.
All
We're
right.
gonna go with the Charon class frigate.
All right. I think it's is
So
it Charon or Charon? I'm pretty sure it's
I don't
Charon class.
Charon. I'm just here. I just know it's spelled.
Yeah, it's
It's the
Greek.
forward onto
It's
Dawn.
Greek.
Whatever
Yeah,
the
it's Greek.
it's
So it's Charon.
it's Charon. Okay, whatever. Anywho, um, this is a very iconic ship. If you've played Halo, you know the forward onto Dawn. It's a beautiful looking ship to say the least. Now, one of its main weapons is the magnetic accelerated cannon or the Mac cannon. If you've played Halo, you know what I'm
Mac
talking about.
rounds in
Mac
atmosphere,
rounds
Austin.
sphere? Yes, of course. Fucking but for those that don't know what the Mac cannon is, it basically fires a tungsten slug at extremely
Yeah.
high velocity.
Yep.
It's what, by the way, like we have another ship on here that uses that, but like again, the Mac cannons are basically the capital ships of the choice of weapon for many of the capital ships and larger ships of the UNSC fleet.
Mhm.
Now, what's interesting about this ship is it's a smaller frigate, of course, but it has a very good purpose. It's supposed to help with marine deployment, of course. Like obviously, it has your things from your Scorpion tanks, your Warthogs, Pelicans, you name it, like even personnel. I think that the main thing is it has good all-around armament. It has point defense guns, which is a big plus for me. It has some smaller weapons here and there in the Archer missiles, which you see it in Halo 4, really. Like you use the one to try and blow up a well, I think it's a nuke, but but point being is they do I think they have some nukes on there as well, if I remember.
Yeah, they
But
do.
like yeah, I know that I know the bigger ships definitely do, but it's multi-role, right? Like that's it's like a jack of all trades. Like again, they can help escort, do recon, deploy troops if needed. You see that in Halo 3 when you are at the Ark, and the Forward Onto Dawn comes in and gives you some tanks that beat everything, of course.
Yes.
Tank beats everything.
Tank beats
The main thing is,
everything.
yeah, I fucking love that. My thing is that it doesn't have any energy shields at the now. I'm specifically talking about the variant in Halo 3. Like that's the furthest I'm going with this. Okay, obviously, if I include things from Halo 4 and beyond, you start seeing shields being developed and put into the UNSC
Yeah.
ships, but it relies some heavily on armor. Obviously, in longer engagements, it has issues because you kind of see this even when they're going like because you actually have one of those types of frigates. This was the one I was talking about when you have the sabers that
Mhm.
you go to try and commandeer a Covenant ship. Even that ship got blown up because
Yeah.
of the long engagement it had. And keep in mind, that is one Covenant ship.
Yep.
These things are not meant to do one-on-one combat like that.
Yep.
They are pure like we're here to drop shit off, or you need a bunch of us all together to kind of do some damage. And that's usually what the humans would do when it came to dealing with the Covenant is if we can outnumber one of the ships, we can maybe take
Yeah.
we can take one down,
Yep.
right? Um Also the Mac cannon takes a really long time to charge respective to the other weapons here. I would say this, it is definitely a reliable ship for what it's supposed to do,
Mhm.
but I would not put it in combat proven. This thing cannot last against many of the other things on this list, let alone we
Mhm.
have like a Covenant ship on here. But like I would say that it's better than the K-Wing. I would argue maybe better than the TIE Interceptor. Yeah, I'd put it like right.
I'm
mm,
cool. I'm cool with putting it above the K-wing.
no, I would put it above the Saber because I
Okay.
believe it has FTA. Yeah, it has the slip
Got
space
it.
drive in it because they
Mhm.
use the slip space drive from that ship to blow
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
But yes,
Yeah. All right. So, well, speaking of that, the other Halo ship, let's talk about the Halcyon class. Now, for those who don't know what this class is, this is what the Pillar of Autumn was. The Pillar of Autumn's a Halcyon class. Though, granted, Pillar of Autumn was basically a Halcyon class injected with steroids,
yes,
but the point still stand. In fact, didn't they? You might find this cool. After in canon, after the war ends, they launch a new
build a
version.
pillar of autumn. Yep,
Yeah, the Pillar
I
of
know.
Autumn class.
Class. Yep,
So,
specifically for that.
yeah, here it is. This is the Halcyon class. Now, it's funny when I first saw this from a side profile, I'm like, "Oh, that looks like a ship from Homeworld." But no, that's a Halo ship.
Go for it.
Okay, so I mean, what more can be said? The Pillar of what we're going off of this being the Pillar of
Let's do
Autumn.
the Pillar of
Yeah,
Autumn class because
yeah,
that one is literally what
yeah.
inspires the
Yeah,
whole. Yeah.
so the Pillar of Autumn is basically a Halcyon class, like I said, with steroids. It has 2 Mac cannons rather than 1. It has archer missiles capable of launching nuclear or non-nuclear. It carries an entire array of longsword and short sword fighters. Sorry, longsword and broadsword fighters and bombers. It has a full, like, I don't know how many Marines were on board. Like a number of Marines, a
That was
full
a lot.
yeah, a number of Marines, a full group of ODST, a tank force, and of course, well, was 2, then it was 1, 2 Spartans. That being John 137 and Linda 030 question mark.
It
Um
was Linda and
yeah, it's
oh no,
Linda
Sam. I think Sam
one yeah,
died. If I
sorry. Yeah, Sam died and it was John and Linda. So yeah, Sierra 117 and Sierra 030. So yeah, but and yeah, we saved it on Reach. Yes, we did. And to put this into perspective, mind you, with Cortana piloting this before, like right at the start of Halo Combat Evolved, she takes out 3 or 4 Covenant ships with the Mac cannons. Again, normally human ships need the numbers advantage to win in like orbital combat. And the Pillar of Autumn just said, "Yeah, no, hold my beer," and took down.
What's your Captain Keys?
Yeah, well, yeah, you got Captain Keys too. Captain Keys before, like, if the Pillar of Autumn hadn't crashed, Captain Keys is basically the main character. Like, if you read about what Captain Keys has done, it's kind of insane what he's done.
Captain Keys was basically the Spartan that wasn't a Spartan
Yep.
for the UNSC. Like he literally has a whole maneuver named after him
Mhm.
when he took down what was it, 3 Covenant
3
ships with
Covenant
one.
ships with 1
Yeah,
destroyer. Yep.
yeah. Keys,
Um,
I love Keys, and I
yeah.
love that in Halo Infinite, if you do play it, they do give homage to Captain Keys in it, and also if you play the Combat Evolve or the Anniversary Edition, and you do the terminals, just seeing how this is what side note, I really want to talk about Captain Keys
Yeah,
real
go for
quick.
it.
I love Captain Keys. He's one of my favorite characters in all of sci-fi because he is so mentally tough. He also him and Dr. Halsey had a thing, and Miranda's their kid. For those that don't know, he is so mentally tough. When he was getting infected by the flood, he did not. He literally
24
waited
hours.
24 hours until John ripped the neural implant out of his head so to prevent Earth's location being discovered by the flood.
Yeah, to put this in perspective, Captain Keys was taken over by the Grave Mind, of all things, and resisted for 24 hours. The only way, like, when Master Chief finds him, he's basically dead at that point. But, like, it's Chief who finishes him off, basically, by ripping the thing out of his head. But yeah, no, Captain Keys resisted the Grave Mind for 24 hours, which is terrifying. Well, first of all, it's badass on Captain Key's part, but like that's also, you have to think, you're like, Jesus Christ, what, like, how? And the reason how is because we see in the remastered version, he basically not only repeated his name, rank, and serial number, but he also fed the Gravemind images of where he would, like, of his homeworld, of his daughter, of his combat record and all that stuff. He never gave it anything about Earth, basically. So yeah.
Yeah, Lord of Lizards asked, did the Gravemind exist at that point? I know they were trying to make one there. I think there was one. I thought, or no, on
So
that
it
installation,
was a
you
proto
go.
grave. It was a
Yeah, it
proto
was a
grave
proto
mind.
Gravemind. That's
Yeah.
it. Yep. I was like, I know it wasn't a full
Yeah.
one,
And
but
oh, go ahead.
yeah. No, no, I was gonna say, yeah, he lived to hear. It's very realistic for fucking Keys. No, he would have resisted. I think because of how, like, again, indoctrination, you need to be very mentally tough
Mhm.
to avoid it. Keys would have been able to
Yeah.
avoid
Yeah,
indoctrination
and this is
without a
it
doubt.
was a proto grave mind he resisted. And I would like to point out, I have to mention this because it's kind of funny. I don't know if you played Cursed Halo before. Um,
I've not.
I think, Chad, I'm gonna have to take Austin through Cursed Halo at some point. That'll be fun. In Cursed Halo, when you get to where Keys is, he's not infected at all. He's just standing there, and he was like, He's like, "Good to see you, Master Chief." He's alive. And a flood spore shows up, and Keys pulls out his handgun. He's like, "Don't worry, I've got it." Problem. In Cursed Halo, all of the guns are literally called the M6Rs. If you pull the trigger on the magnums, you shoot yourself. That's the joke. So Keys pulls out his handgun and shoots himself rather than the flood because the gun's backwards. So
That's so fucking funny,
it
bro. Oh
it
my
is like
god.
I have to show you Cursed Halo at some point. It is
Yeah, you have
absolutely
to
great.
send that to me.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
but where would you grade this though?
I would. Well, here's the thing. It blew up, so that's kind of the problem. It blew up.
It could
So
blow up a Halo ring with
yeah,
its.
I would say for what it is, I'm willing to put it. I'm willing to put it probably. I'm willing to put it right below the Galactica and Combat Proven
I
because
agree.
yeah,
I
yeah,
agree.
because
Mhm.
it did all of that and more. So, um, what was your favorite weapon in Cursed Halo? You know what? I'm not going to answer that because I want to play Cursed Halo with Austin. So if I spoil it,
Jesus
you know what? I'll
Christ.
just say the D20 grenades. The D20
I'm not gonna
grenades.
know what that is until I play it, so
Yeah, the
you don't have
D20
to tell me,
grenades are my
chat.
favorite.
That's great.
All right, your turn.
Hmm. Hmm. Do I wanna?
Also,
Uh.
for brevity's sake, we're gonna skip the remaining 40K stuff, so I'm just gonna put this over here. So everything over
Okay.
here is what we got because we got 30 minutes. So what do you want to
I'll
cover?
make this quick. Let's do the a Covenant assault carrier.
Okay.
These things are obviously fucking insane. They have devastating plasma. I'm gonna just skim through it.
Yeah.
Devastating plasma weapons. They can glass planets, basically just laser beams.
Yeah.
They have a lot of fighters on them. They have amazing energy shields, and they can invade worlds all by themselves. Again, not the super carrier, like literally, like the base
Yeah.
carriers can
Yeah.
do them on their own. They are very big.
Mhm.
They're about, I want to say, I think like 4 or 5 kilometers long. Um, very expensive
Yeah.
and very dependent on shields. Hence why if it gets hit by one max shot, or if a max shot can get through, it can damage it and kill it.
Yeah.
It requires a large crew. Um, not I personally think it is definitely combat proven.
Mhm.
I would argue probably for what it can do above the Halcyon
Yeah.
or
I would
whatever.
agree with that.
Yeah.
Is it permission to leave the station, sir? For what reason, Master Chief? To give the Covenant back their bomb.
Dude, Master Chief was
Yeah.
aura farming in the early
Yeah.
2000s and we were
All
go
right.
for it.
So now I would like to talk about because you seem to know about it. Let's talk about the longsword.
Yes.
So I know a little bit about the longsword. I know that it is both it's both space orbital capable and surface capable of flying.
Mhm.
Um it is the UNSC's strike bomber of choice. It honestly, like, first of all, I think it's just a really cool looking spacecraft anyway. Um, but that's about, and I do. Oh, right. I also know that in lore wise, the longsword was used for as the test bed for a lot of prototype weaponry, like the cryo bombs and a bunch of other stuff that the UNSC tried but was never able to use properly. Yeah, this is the thing that deployed it. And I believe it's also transport capable. I believe it can transport people if it needs
I can
to.
help out. Yeah, yeah. So it has a bunch of it can do a lot of things. It can do one-on-one fighting. It can be a bomber. It can take on ground targets, and it can even assist during capital ships. That's the thing I love about the longsword. It's one of the most versatile fighters in all of Halo. The other thing is that it does very well everywhere, like space, planetary atmospheres, etc. I will say that it does take a couple people to use. Right, it has a multi-crew capacity. But the thing is it's very big. It's a
Yeah,
very
it's a
big
very
ship.
big ship. Yeah.
And it has no energy shields, and it's pretty expensive. But all things considered, to kind of rush through this, um, I think that it is combat proven for what it is, and I'm not just putting it in there. Like, no, it because its versatility and what it can do, it's combat proven. But I would probably put that like below the B wing, like the literal
Yeah.
right below the B wing.
Yeah. All right, your turn. So
Uh, uh, let's see here. We can just finish up Halo with the Banshee, the
okay.
space variant. Um, to keep it simple, it holds one pilot. If you've seen the Banshees in See the Banshees in Halo. This one it has a bit more powerful weaponry, has a fuel rod cannon, has the twin blasters. They're easy to kill. Like even the sabers can kill these easily. I honestly think they need some more work. But then again, there are tons of them,
Yeah.
I will say.
Why does
Um
it kind of look like? Why does it kind of look like a scrungly alien, like holding two weapons with its arms, like right in front of its face? And
yeah,
just
that's the reach variant. It looks very odd, but those things are everyone's saying it. They're cannon fodder. They're
yeah.
fucking pathetic. It needs work. It's better than the TIE fighter for sure.
Mhm.
But yeah, it needs some work.
Okay, so we'll put it above everything in the scrap section because yeah,
Yeah.
bordering on that. Okay, so there is something I want to talk about. Let me
Mhm.
actually pull this up real quick. Hold on. I want because there's something I want to say about it because it's
Well,
just really really well done. Um, see, hang on. Where's the there's a really good quote that I want to read because I want to talk about the Naboo starfighter, the
yes,
N1.
okay.
But I there's a quote that I want to read about it. Um, let's see. Is it this one? Hang on. I want to make sure. Let's see. Because I might be able to play it. Y'all might be able to hear it over my microphone. Let me see if I can get it. Hold on. Let's see. Hang on. Is this it? Yeah, yeah, here it is. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but I'm
Alright,
gonna
let me
play.
hear.
Yeah. See.
Oh, come on. What ship could be so amazing that you wouldn't realize you were in the middle of a space battle?
I think I barely heard
Yeah,
that.
cut to the N1 starfighter. Um,
Yeah.
what ship is so amazing that you wouldn't notice you were in a space battle? That one right there. And he points to the N1. Um, and Vader, like, I'm trying to think, how does he see? Yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's called Vader's Joyride, where he shoves. It's a Lego Star Wars thing. He shoves these stormtroopers out of the way, and
Oh,
yeah,
that's what it is.
yeah,
I thought
yeah.
this sounds familiar.
And he says it best: the N1 Naboo Starfighter, an old Republic classic, pristine, still has the chromium undercarriage. I must fly it. That's how I feel about the N1 Starfighter.
Yeah.
It is a classic design. I love the sound it makes whenever it flies over, just that screeching
It's so
sound.
iconic.
Yeah,
I
it
gotta play
is.
Star
Yeah,
Wars Starfighter again.
yeah, it is just it's a beautiful ship. It really is. And the fact that it still sees service even after like the fall of the empire says a lot about it. So,
No, this is pod racing. I agree.
yeah, now this is pod racing. Um so I'm willing to put it like I don't know what you well, what do you know? What do you think about the shit?
I honestly love it. I think that for what it can do, I mean, shit. Like I think it has the torpedoes. I mean, you've seen it be used for a really long time. Granted, it's Naboo. I would honestly put it in like combat proven, like right
Yeah,
below the longsword.
yeah, I agree. I can do that. Okay, so your call. What do you want to talk about now?
Let's do the Acclimator assault
Okay.
ship. This one's gonna be quick for me.
Yeah, same.
It's super easy. Look,
This is
it's been around since the Republic
yeah,
age. Like
look,
literally, the
Austin.
Empire still.
Austin,
Good.
let's just call it's a glorified transport.
It's literally
It's
just
a
a glorified
glorified
transfer.
transport.
But here's the thing. The wait. But it's reliable. It does it transports well. I mean, the thing is it's been used for so long, and I think
Mhm.
the thing is it does its job better than what the Star Destroyer is supposed to fucking do.
That's true,
I think
actually.
the thing is that look, if you look at it for like as a assault carrier that transports people around, that's doing its job. Is it better than some of the other ships? No, but it does its job very well. There are a couple flaws. It doesn't have much high firepower. Doesn't have a whole lot of fighters in it. Not as durable, but I
Yeah.
would say it's reliable.
Again,
It's reliable,
glorified transport. What it is. It's a glorified
but a
transport.
decent one.
Yeah, it is. And it could carry a lot of dudes, but like again, I would put it like I if it is better than what the star. I'm willing to put it at the top of the needs work category because
Okay,
they
that's
do
fine.
augment it and everything. Okay, so now since we're still in Star Wars, now I get to talk about a ship that not a lot of people know about. Ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, furries, non-furries, and everyone in between, allow me to introduce the ship that was supposed to replace the X-Wing. This is the New Republic E-Wing. This is the Mark II version of the E-Wing. So And that is true. Zach is correct. The acclimator is fast, but again, glorified transport. So this is the E-wing. So yes, this was meant to replace the X-wing. Um, and so this version of it is on Ahsoka's TV, is on the Ahsoka show. There is an older version of it where it actually has a dorsal mounted laser, and that's from the expanded universe stuff. Um, so here's the thing about the E-wing. The E-wing was basically designed to be better than the X-wing in every way. It was supposed to be faster. It was supposed to have better firepower. It was supposed to have better shielding. Problem: it was extremely unreliable. It had a ton of teething problems. The fact of the matter is that, no joke, when the E-wing was created, the developers of it actually wanted to give it to Rogue Squadron because, well, duh, Rogue Squadron are the best flyers of the Republic. So they're like, hey, we want you guys to try out our fighter, and we guarantee you'll love it more than you love your X-wings. Remember earlier in the stream where I said fly it till you break it?
Yes.
Yeah, Rogue Squadron proceeded to fly the E-wings till they broke them. And very quickly, Rogue Squadron was like, yeah, these are shit. Because turns out there was one giant problem, and it was a big problem. The issue is that the engine and the blasters pull from the same power source. So if you start blasting, your engine slows down. And if you keep shooting, your engine turns off. So it wasn't long before Rogue Squadron were like, this is shitty. Like, yeah, it's an escort fighter. Like, these scientists were like, this is going to be better than the X-Wing. And Rogue Squadron was like, no, it wasn't. It was later changed to be an escort fighter. For those who don't know what an escort fighter means, an escort fighter basically means that it has to be launched from another ship, like a Mon Calamari cruiser or something like that, and it is meant to escort ships to and from locations. It has no long range capability. I believe it does have a hyperdrive. It does, but the problem, and it was fast. Like, if you weren't using the guns, this thing was faster than an A-wing. It could go. But the problem is that, again, you were gonna need your guns. So,
Yes.
yeah. And the other cool thing about it was that it could fly in atmosphere as well. And there is a really cool story about the E-wings, about some Rogue Squadron E-wings flying on a planet and like kicking up dust as they're flying really low to the ground. And they mention how they can actually fly almost as low as an airspeeder because the E-wing can do that. But again, as cool as that is, that doesn't change the fact that Rogue Squadron are like, this thing is shit. You've just said, like, this is never going to replace the X-Wing. We'd rather just upgrade our X-Wings. So, yeah, I personally feel like it belongs in the needs work category because it does.
I agree. No, it definitely does. It's like the F-35 of our
Yeah.
of the Star Wars universe.
Right?
Let's see what we got. I got a couple more left. They're all Star, I think, right? Yeah.
Well, no,
they're all
that's the
Star.
Cosmo Zero, but we're gonna
Oh, so
ignore
I
that
couldn't
one.
see it. Yeah. Okay, it's all good. I just want to make sure. Okay, so we'll go with the Nebulon B frigate.
Nebulon B
this one
frigate here.
Oh, fucking love that from. This thing it's a frigate. It's mainly like a medic frigate. It has some weapons for sure, but I'll be completely honest. Just kind of skim through this. It kind of suffers the same issues that the acclimator does, in my humble opinion. Where it just, I mean, dude, it's there. Like
The-
it's like literally, it's a glorified transport ship to an extent, even though, but like,
the bullet sponge. It's
yeah,
just
it's a
meant to
bullet. Like
take. It's meant
literally,
to take bullets, to take hits.
like we are here for this reason.
Yeah,
But
what's that Russian Badger thing? Hey, look, that frigate's doing its job. A duty honorably discharged. As it blows up. I cannot move. Like it look, I'm with you. It is an iconic design. It is. But here's the thing. Because you've modded the game before, you probably see, there's
yes,
a Mark
yep.
II.
Oh, I know. I
Yeah.
played the Mark II. That thing looks fucking awesome. Like
Yeah.
I love that shit.
So yeah, no, this is like this. No, it does have turbo lasers, and it is quick, and it does have some good shielding. But again, this is a frigate. It is not meant to brawl. So
Yes.
Even in debt, I still serve. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, it's the same as the Great Fox.
yeah,
Well, no, I would argue. Jesus Christ, I would argue that the Great Fox too. At least, well, no, no,
no.
at least the Nebulon
Yeah.
B frigate can fight back.
Yeah.
But I think it needs. Cut this thing out, scrap it. I would scrap it. I
Yeah.
fucking
I would I have to mention it's funny someone says that you could Delta you could literally apply that line to James McCloud now. Even in debt I still serve. Cuz didn't what's
John.
people saying he took out an 80-year loan for the Great
He took out an
Fox?
80-year mortgage on the Great Fox so that
Jesus.
and I believe if Fox is 18, I'm gonna guess like they're like not even a fourth of the way through that loan.
No, there's
Um,
actually a there's a comic I need to show you. I don't know if you've read the Ask Star Fox comics before.
I
There's a
have.
comic. Okay, so you know the comic. For those who haven't seen it, there's a comic where Crystal asks Fox about getting married, and he's laying
Yep.
there with this pained expression on his face, and he's like, "Rob, how much more debt do I have to pay off?" And
Yeah.
Rob mentions that he's got like at current rate of gain, it'll take another 3 years. And he's like, okay, great. He's
Yeah,
just
yeah, at least the thing is like I'll joke around real quick. Like I always get joked around my audience where they're like, "Oh, he's gonna get the mortgage when he takes over Star Fox. Like he's gonna have to pay the Great Fox's mortgage." And I'm like, "No, because he'll be paid off by then." Well, he'll hand me down the Great Fox too.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there was a I made the joke with my girlfriend about our two Star Fox characters who literally the group is called Stellar Romp. And they literally
Mhm.
drive around in this scrapped shit, like this scrapyard ship that they cobbled together. And yeah, like it's a piece of junk, but like the main thing about it is it's like, yeah, but it's our piece of junk and we make it work. And the running joke has always been, now that I know the new lore, ever since I found that out, the joke has always been, yeah, it's a piece of junk, but I don't owe money on it like James does. So that's
Yeah.
always been the running joke. All right, so now, okay, let's talk about the workhorse. We got to talk about the Y Wing.
Yes.
Um, so the Y Wing is the workhorse, is one of the workhorses of the Rebel fleet, and she is an old, old, old warhorse. Remember, the Y Wing has been around since before the Clone Wars. It was old during the Clone Wars. It served during the Clone Wars. And then as the Clone Wars went on, they stripped more and more and more of the excess stuff off to now you've basically got a skeletal frame of the thing. And even then, it can still take a beating. It still has a ton of firepower. We're talking heavy laser cannons, ion cannon, bombs, proton torpedoes, you name it, it does it. And what's even crazier about it to me is that it's also got an astromech, and the shields are like, gah. Like these, I remember in Rogue Squadron, they mentioned how the shields are probably the strongest in the Rebel Starfighter Corps. The armor's
Mhm.
tough as nails, but the trade-off for all that is that what did Luke say? It moves like a sleepy hut. So they're very slow and very tough
It's
to maneuver.
slow.
Hmm.
Yep. Very slow. I mean, I think it's an iconic fighter, of course, but it could bomb shit.
Yeah,
That's cool. But like,
good old
I think,
reliable.
and it has the ion cannons, which make it cool. I think that again, it's a reliable ship. I don't think it, it does what it needs to do. It's nothing too crazy.
Hmm.
That's just me.
I'd put it. I can. Yeah, I'd say we could put it in reliable.
I mean, it
Um,
is like it's like
literally
I
old
would say
reliable. Actually, no, we could put it. I would say we could put it in combat proven. It survived 2 wars,
that is true. Yeah, I
so
would put yeah.
I'd put it above the B wing because it's been around longer, and
Hmm.
still serving. Because again, remember the B wing serves with the Y wing; it didn't replace it. But I'm not
Yep.
putting it any higher because Vader blew up the Y wings at the Death Star. So yeah, um,
What we got? Last one's the tie bomber.
last one's the Tie Bomber. Ugh, you take this
This
one.
I
Like,
don't like the tie bomber. You can go. I
okay.
fucking hate this
just
shit.
that's just Zaruk and Austin like looking at the ship in a hangar bay like, ew. Just brother.
Can we get the tie advanced? We got the tie
Yeah,
advanced at home.
yeah, we
The
get the
tie
tie
advanced at
yeah, the tie
home.
advanced at home.
Fucking
Okay.
hate the tie
Yeah,
bomber.
so brother, what's that? Okay. So, positives. First of all, It is capable of carrying multiple weapons, not just bombs. It can carry cluster missiles, it can carry concussion missiles, it can carry proton torpedoes, it can carry a little bit of everything. So it is and it may not have shielding, but it has tougher armor than every other TIE variant. This thing can actually take a few hits before it goes down. Granted, when it goes down, it's going to blow up, but hey, at least it can take a few hits. Um, and life support for the pilot and the co-pilot because it has a secondary place. That's it. That's it. That's all. It is slow. It is clunky. It's noisy as hell. I mean, to be fair though, that ion engine sound is pretty legendary and memorable.
Mhm.
But again, she's not. Yeah, fodder. It's fodder. Well, it is okay. It is, but remember, against an unprepared like capital ship or an unprepared convoy, this is a nightmare scenario because these things are going to
Mhm.
swoop in, fire a ton of missiles or torpedoes at you, and just go. And probably most humiliating of all is it's just going to go on a Sunday stroll right past you as you're blowing up, just to humiliate you.
Mhm.
And you want to know the funny thing is that
Mm.
there's actually a version of this called the Heavy Bomber where it has 3 pods instead of 1. Because that so the
Oh,
co
I know that
yeah,
one. I
yes,
know that.
yeah,
Isn't it, like, below it,
yeah,
right? Like, am I thinking?
yep.
Yeah.
Because for those who don't know, the cockpit is on the left, the one with the glass on it. That thing on the right is a weapon pod. The Heavy TIE Bomber has 2 more of those. So even more bombs and more stuff. So look, look, the idea of a heavy fighter to attack capital ships and stuff, not a bad idea. I'm willing to say that this needs work. Fodder it may be, but at least it could take a few more laser shots before it blows up.
Yeah, I agree. It needs work. I think like they got the right idea, but it's not like on the level in universe like the B wing or even the fuck it, even the Y wing for that matter.
Yeah.
But I agree. I would say that it's yeah,
Yeah.
yep, below the Wolfen too.
Yeah, and the Emperor made the TIE oppressor with 4. I forgot the oppressor with 4 weapon
No,
pods. I
no,
forgot.
no
Yeah.
weapon pods.
It's just,
We don't need more. I fucking forgot about the tie oppressor.
oh
Jesus Christ.
God.
Just add fuck it. Just add more
More
pods to shit.
pods. And dare we mention the TIE Mauler? It's not even a yeah, I know it's a tank, but it's still so dumb.
It's so
Fun
stupid.
fact, by the way, about Empire at War. This was actually cut from the game. I only know
Yes.
this because I found a bunch of stuff about the game when it was being made. So the Mauler, it has 2 types of pilots in it. There's the normal pilots who who are just armor crewmen who drive the tank around. Those guys are normal guys.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
The other guys are literally prisoners or penal soldiers who are literally told drive this mauler into battle and blow yourself up. Like they're not told to survive. They're just told drive it into something and blow yourself up. Like they're told blow yourself up. Which which for those who don't know, the TIE Mauler has a self-destruct button which takes out a ton of stuff in the game. But yeah, no, apparently in the cut stuff, it was going to be mentioned that some Mauler pilots are literally penal soldiers who are told, okay, you want to make sure, like, you're not going to survive this, but if you want to make sure your family and your friends don't suffer, drive this into that rebel formation and blow yourself up.
Right, honestly, it's so fucking crazy.
Just-
But
yeah,
I mean, this is a pretty good list,
yeah,
I
I
would say.
agree.
I mean, we talked about each one
Hmm.
well until the end very
Yeah,
extensively, and I think this is fair.
yeah, I
I
agree.
mean, what do you guys think in chat?
Good list.
Good list, I would hope. I mean,
And
fuck.
and I pray you get a lot of clips out of this because we had a lot of fun making fun of stuff. Like one of my friends is telling me right now, he's like, if I had any animating skills, I would literally animate you and Austin kicking the shit out of the command Great Fox, just like
Yeah,
like that
fuck that
JoJo, just
thing.
like that JoJo scene of them kicking the dude on the ground.
Yeah, I'll probably get a bunch out of this for sure. I'll put it on YouTube, and then
Yeah,
you might see it on his end.
yeah,
But, this was fun.
I
This was
agree.
very fun.
Next we'll have to do Cursed Halo. I'll see if I can convince Austin to try
Let
that.
let me move over to the just chatting screen. Give me one
Yeah,
second,
sure,
guys.
take your time.
Well, I'm so I can't see your screen anymore. That's okay.
Yeah.
But guys, Zaruk, this was such a fun
Oh, no
idea. I
problem.
greatly
Thank you for
appreciate it.
I'm glad you like the idea. It's we really bounce off each other really well and it worked out
Yes.
really well. So I'll leave you to say goodbye to your community. I'm gonna go say goodbye to mine. So thank you very much for
Um,
this. We'll have to do it again sometime.
yeah, yeah, no problem. In the shared chat, I think I dropped my Discord if you want to join in
Oh
so you don't miss
yes,
out streams on my end, or
I need to
Zaruk if
do
you want to
that
drop
too.
yours as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna do
Yeah,
that
but
too.
it just it's free. It doesn't cost you anything to get into my server whatsoever. Um, I will say this: if you want to support both of us, be sure my community, please be sure to go follow Zaruk and vice
No, I
versa. It's
appreciate it.
awesome to get.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I'm just trying to think, is there anything else? And then yeah, I mean, I have my stuff on YouTube. If you guys want to see some cool content, whether you like it or not, I don't really care. You can go subscribe to my YouTube page. It's free. What I'm gonna go ahead and do, Zaruk, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off on my end, and I'm gonna raid somebody.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna do that too.
Okay, so I will. Is it okay if I drop out of the call, or
Oh
do you want
yes,
to?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I was gonna do the same. So I'll talk to you later. Y'all have a great night.
Yep.
See
Have a
ya.
good one. Okay.
See ya.
Bye.
All right, that's gonna do it, everyone. I'm gonna close VTube Studio real quick. Um, so we can let me close this too. Exit full screen. Here we go. So that's gonna be it for tonight. We are also gonna whoops, let me turn that off. We are also gonna go raid someone. Give me a second to turn this off. There we go. We are also gonna go raid someone. So with that being the case, let me see if I can find us somebody to raid real quick. Hope you all had fun. Uh, Austin is super cool and fun to engage with, as y'all saw. So let's see who we can go say hi to tonight. Um, you know what? Let's go say hi to um. She was in here earlier. Let's go say hi to Hexdoll. That'd be fun, right? Yeah, we'll go say hi to her. She's playing Monster Hunter Stories 3 as well. But Hexdoll is one of my longtime friends, so let's go say hi to her. Glad you all had fun. Let's see. Here we go. All right, let's get this raid started. As always, it's been a privilege and a pleasure to entertain all of you. I hope you had a great time. I've been Zaruk Windcaller, and remember that the memories we make in life, good and bad, make us who we are. Don't trade them for anything. Remember to join the Discord by typing !Discord in the chat so you can get a link to the Discord. Check me out on YouTube. There's Zaruk VODs for all the streams, and then Zaruk Clips for all the shorts that have come from those streams. That said, love you guys. Talk to you all later. Have a great night.